She used to be an actress.
She ever do anything I would have saw?
I think her biggest deal was she starred in a pilot.
What's a pilot?
Well, you know the shows on TV.
I don't watch TV.
Yes, but you're aware that there's an invention called television, and on that invention they show shows?
Yeah.
Well, the way they pick the shows on TV is they make one show and that show is called a pilot. And they show that one show to people who pick the shows, and on the strength of that one show, they decide if they want to make more shows. Some get accepted and become TV programs, and some don't become nothing. She started one of those ones that became nothing.
R.I.P. Harambe.
Welcome to Couch Pilots. All of you are my friends. This is the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, and with me is a man who has a hairless bat. It's Captain Philip Rescher. Good evening. I love you.
I love you too, buddy. Man.
What is your manscaping situation these
I
days?
didn't think I was going to do this here. But actually...
You thought about this question specifically and didn't think you were going to do it
Well, I
here.
thought about the genre and how I do...
The genre?
I do the genre of guests.
Define
because
genre.
I specifically, every time we have this guest on, I try to behave. I think you're trying to set me up, but I'll tell you what. The other day I was in the shower, and I thought to myself, because that's how I refer to myself. I said, things are getting a little rough down there, right?
Right.
So I began the process, right? You always start in the middle, work your way to the sides. I'm sorry, Heather. I did not ask you for this.
That's not how you're supposed to do it.
Well, this is what happened. I got distracted, and I got out of the shower. I dried off, and I looked down, and I went, I have a reverse mohawk because I completely forgot to finish the job.
Wow.
So right now, I have a reverse mohawk.
So when that is
I was going to say he's as smooth as a porpoise for you. So,
for me.
well, I mean, that's the...
I always podcast better when
hopefully
I'm
not
smooth
for
as a whistle, but yeah. But yeah, so I don't know, because my significant other, which I call my wife,
Right.
I thought, hey, she'll think this is funny. You know, I'm like, hey, she hasn't seen down there in years. Maybe she'll want to know what's going on in that
A
zip
chilling
code.
look into your personal life.
And I said, hey, I was taking a shower today and I got distracted and I went, whoop, and she went, instead of like, I expected a laugh. Her first question was, how'd you get distracted in the shower?
That's a great question.
I don't know. I don't know if it was because I was listening to a podcast. I don't know if I heard the dogs getting into something. I don't know what it was, but we did not come anywhere near finishing the job.
When I manscape, I do it in the shower, but not while the shower's running.
Oh.
It's its own thing, and then once that's done, then the shower starts.
Oh, no,
And so once I start, I know that I will complete it.
Well, maybe I should start doing it that way. But
You and I, let's get together sometime.
Okay.
And we're gonna really.
I'm going to have plenty of time on my hands after.
Well, I said last week, and it carries over to, and we'll introduce our guests in a moment. Just relax. my heart is heavy. Are you feeling it at all?
No.
Last week you said I don't care about anything.
That's not what I said.
You said, I don't like you. I
was-
don't care about anything.
That's not what I said.
What did you say?
I think I'm probably handling it like I handle most situations in my life. I'm completely avoiding it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you're going to drink away.
No, I'm like 5 months out. By the time of this release, I'm like 5 months.
It truly is impressive. Yes, congratulations.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, it's
Good for you, Blake. I don't think I knew that. Good for you.
Thank you. Well, it's not my
but you
choice.
still, but like
No.
even if you were drinking heavily, which you've been prone to in the past, that would be an excuse for not feeling the heaviness of,
Sure.
of the ending of the podcast. But you don't have that crutch to lean on. You're just a
No,
sociopath.
I will deal with it. I will go through the gamut of emotions.
The genre of emotions.
The genre of emotions. But I really feel like right now I'm kind of just like pushing it back and
Right.
trying not to let her ride up on the thing.
I want you to fix your reverse mohawk.
Right now?
No, not on the show. That's something else. Let's go ahead. We have surprises in our pockets.
Yes.
even to the very end here. This, by all accounts, this is the last regular show that we're doing.
Yes.
We've got a few more shows left, and I kind of even spoiled it by just saying we have shows left.
Right.
We said we're going to stop at 400, and this is 399. You think one show? No, we've got a few shows left. It's going to be a surprise what happens, but by every single conceivable account, this is the last regular show.
This was the last pilot I ever had to watch.
And we have a special surprise even for this show. Let's introduce our guests. You ready?
How do you want to do it the way we usually do it?
Okay, so this whole season, we've had 2 guests on a time. It's been our dream guest season where all of our favorite people come on. It's 2 at a time, and we specifically put certain people together. And this week we have a guest who's never been on before.
Never done a podcast before.
That too, and we're definitely gonna dig into that. But when we've had these 2 guests on, you and I both introduce them at the same time, where we talk over each other. I think you're gonna probably introduce Matt because you're a coward, and you need to introduce the guy that you know. Right, even though by every conceivable imagination, it would be me introducing Matt, but you don't know the other guests very well.
Well, I mean, we haven't spent that much time together.
Would you like to introduce her?
Sure. You
Okay.
know what?
Okay.
You know what? I'll do it.
All right, let's do it. Let's introduce our guest. Ready?
You got it.
All right. There was really no. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't know you were.
No, we were doing it.
All right.
There's no other guest.
Our
that
guest
we would have
today,
on our final
a very
episode.
dear friend of
I've known
mine.
her for over 20 years.
She's
He's
baked
been on
for me.
since the
She's
first
let me come in her house.
He's
and,
been on more
and,
than
and
almost
walk around with my
everybody.
shoes on, and didn't worry about me
Any
breaking
other guest
anything.
has been on.
She's let her
I
husband
think
come and
Blake would
spend
be
time with
crippled if
me
I told him,
when most wives
that this guest
don't
would be
allow that.
Probably my best friend, but I love him.
Beautiful
dearly.
young lady. Let's welcome
His
to the
name
show,
is
Heather.
Matt. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Wow. What an incredible.
Why have we not been doing that this whole time?
That's
right?
well, save the best for last.
No, but I just.
Well, not the guest necessarily, but I mean like that kind of introduction.
But it's actually a double download because people download it. Listen, they only listen to one, and then they have to re-download and listen to the other one.
It's a double download
Well, let me
situation
first,
we're in.
of course, say hello and thank you for having us.
For people who
having
could
me
understand,
especially.
this
yeah.
is longtime guest Matt.
Yeah.
Some would say my arch nemesis,
Yeah, someone say that.
In some circles,
And then
yeah.
we tricked his wife to be here at this time.
Heather, which obviously
We told her it was a
Hello.
bake-off. Yeah.
I was told that there would be cupcakes.
Well, you were told wrong. This is tremendous for many reasons. Matt's been our longest and most frequent guest of the program. Matt's one of the only few guys who says, "Hey, can I come on this show?" No one ever
Right.
says that to us. But and I will always say, yeah, absolutely. Let's get you in next time we do it.
and at the end of it, he always acts like he had a great time.
I don't think
So-
it's
Man, I
that.
can't tell a lie.
Either he
Yeah.
doesn't do a lot of cool stuff in his life.
It's a high bar for me.
But
yeah.
Well, Heather's never been here, so I really want to dig into her and a lot of other things. But we should start by saying, and I got the okay from Matt, that the intro song that we had today was a very special intro song for a number of reasons, but mainly because it's part. And Blake, you don't know this, but that song came from Matt's YouTube channel called JOURNEYLOFI. Matt, every time I go to Matt's house, in his living room, he's got a TV. It's always on. He's playing this kind of like real chill lo-fi music. He's created his own station, and that song was from the most recent release of the station on that station.
really,
True.
are you making this music?
So that is so.
That's a microphone.
Excuse me. Like again,
No, I just
first timer. No. The short answer
I just wanted
is
to show Heather how it's gonna go.
yeah. The first 4 episodes were made with artificial. So yes, steering AI to make the music behind, like underneath the art.
Okay.
That got to a point where that was very time intensive. So I've pivoted over to partnering with artists on a site called artlist.io, really talented musicians. And now Jason and I actually just talked about this, but now I'm transitioning into learning how to make with like a MIDI keyboard and some software, making my own lo-fi. So it's a whole journey, man. It's been fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
His subscribers have skyrocketed.
Yeah.
He told me 3 weeks ago, he's like, I've been working on this for 6 months. I haven't told
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
That's why I asked him if we could talk about it tonight. He said, yeah, go ahead. And I think I was your 6th subscriber just a couple weeks ago, and you're already up almost to 200 subscribers.
Look
It
at
is
you.
Moonshot. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun.
So you're like a producer, kind of.
200 is a very modest number. Yeah. It's this intersection. Jay mentioned it of like really like chill, calming music that will just keep on throughout the house. but it's like underneath this artwork that you just can't look away from, and that's what I'm after. I don't know. It's been fun.
Heather, do you enjoy having it played throughout the house? Do you find it calming?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of background noise in our house as
Sure.
it is. So,
But I mean, you know,
yeah. I mean, it's nice to have it on in the background, and it's not something that the kids get so sucked into that it's just extra hours of screen time for them. So,
Sure.
I mean, but yeah, it's nice.
it's not like backpack over and over again.
Oh Lord, it's Dora the Explorer. You're
Coco
showing your
Melon.
age.
Yeah, Coco Melon. That's
I dated a girl named Coco Melon.
Oh,
You
you
did?
did?
Oh, she's
Oh,
hot.
shoot, man. She has like 160 million
Wow.
followers.
Well, that was before we got together.
Okay.
That's super cool. That's
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's been a project. It's been a lot of fun.
You got to put that in the category or genre, like Blake would say,
Yeah.
of creative outlet.
Oh, no question. That's where it started. That's where it'll probably end at some point. But yeah, I'm about to hire a meme lord. Like when I get to 500.
What?
So
That's Blake's kink, by the way. It's the only way he can.
well, you might be my guy. Or are we talking
It's
about?
the only way he can reverse mohawk.
Are we talking?
As if he has a meme lord.
Are we talking about something else?
Nope.
Oh. No.
That's
Once
the
we
very
get.
first time I've ever heard the phrase "meme lord."
Well, this is.
You're married to him.
Well, well, we consider this.
if you've
wouldn't
never
you
heard
guys
of 'em,
consider this an
What have
educational
I done?
podcast as well. So I mean,
It's someone who's going to like assist you in having your videos go viral.
no, it's someone. Well, in a way, it's someone who can run the Twitter account, and all they're responsible for is one meme a day, like a picture, like say an owl, and it just says, "Have you listened to JOURNEYLOFI today?" And that's it. They're just gonna post 100 of these, and I'll pay them handsomely.
one a day for 100 days.
Sure, let's start there. That'll be the contract. One a day for 100 days. Yeah. So
Okay.
if you write down your number on that sheet of paper and
Oh, I
slide
don't
it
want that
over-
responsibility.
So Matt releases
that
these
seems like
videos.
work.
Yeah.
It seems like I'm just going to disappoint you. So no.
He releases these on YouTube. They're about 3 hours a piece. They release on Sunday evening, but throughout the week he also releases these quick shots.
Yeah.
These little
the way
like
to do it.
Shorts.
inspirational things.
Yeah.
And it really is, I think, the consistency of releases that attracts people.
Yeah.
I no joke. If I get a break from work, I'll pull up my phone and I'll pull up a video from like Marvel, or I'm kind of a guilty pleasure of mine lately. I'm kind of back into professional wrestling.
Oh,
somehow.
really?
Nice.
It was your brother's show, man. Did that kick that off?
No, it's even a little bit before
Before
that.
it?
I don't know anything about professional wrestling for the past 20 years. Somehow I'm kind of back into it a little bit, and I look up these daily videos. It's great that there's consistent content that I can pull up, but I think that's for anything that you're into.
Right,
But if you're
nowadays.
really into lo-fi music, Matt is providing you something virtually every day.
Yeah.
And I think it's consistency that's super important and probably a key to why your subscribers have gone up so quickly.
Well, that's all very generous. But I would also, to pivot back to the consistent. You guys haven't missed a Monday in what, 8 years?
We're very consistent.
Yes.
I mean, that's incredible.
Last
That's
episode,
incredible.
What'd you
Yeah.
say last episode?
I said 5 or 6 years.
He didn't know how long we've been doing the show.
Maybe it was like, were you near a black hole at any point? Like, where time got out of.
I hope that's the case.
There's been a couple black holes.
You hope that's what happened?
Oh man.
Okay.
Well, I'm excited, and I keep a close eye on JOURNEYLOFI, and I think people out there who are listening should subscribe to it.
Well, thank you.
It's a really cool venture, and I know you always got your toes in different things, but this is the first real thing that I felt like you've done that's in a creative expression.
For sure. Publicly creative. Yeah, where I've kind of put it out there. Done more things quietly, or privately, I should say. But yeah.
Reverse mohawk.
Reverse. That's a whole art form to
Privately
itself.
creative manscaping.
It's all below the belt.
AI reverse mohawk.
Oh, God.
Let's pivot to someone we don't know quite as well. We had to go into that because the intro song
Sure.
was of
Sure.
doing. But we should hear.
Did
more
we
from Heather.
did we get the rights to play that?
Absolutely not.
Well, you know what? Here, this is. You'll know if you made it that when we release this episode on our YouTube, because we do the audio gets released. If I don't get an email by 10:30 in the morning on Monday saying you violated
You
copyright
haven't done
laws.
something right.
So if it comes up on this when we release this and
Right.
it comes up like that, you know you've made it because
Boom.
Oh, that's how you know?
yeah.
Well, I'm eventually going to run into that at some point. Sounds like I could.
No, not you.
Oh, well,
You're not
if-
in violation.
Well,
I'm
if
in
I
violation.
do, though, I could come to you to help steer me out of it.
This is how you steer out of it. You just delete the email and don't care.
That's how you do it.
Again, avoidance of situations that are uncomfortable.
I got to write that down.
When we were getting ready to start
I
the
don't
show,
recommend.
Heather said, I have so much content for your program. I feel like she was being facetious. Do you really have content for us?
Well, I mean, I am prepared to discuss my quilts
Please.
and baking and
I
Child
Being an
rearing,
awesome wife and being an
child
incredible
rearing.
mother. Yeah. All
yeah,
these
I'm
things.
the perfect guest. Obviously,
Michael
I have
Jordan
a lot
of
of content
girlfriends.
that your listeners are going to be into. I'm sure.
Yeah.
a lot of people use comforters. I hate comforters perfectly. They're just weird, puffy things that never wash correctly and are never the same after a few washes.
And they never actually keep you warm.
I exclusively use quilts.
No, you don't.
I do. I truly do. Yeah, but they're like, I think they're like kind of, they're,
We are really going to discuss quilts. Okay.
they're like shitty quilts that you buy at like Target. You know, they're like $90.
Yeah.
It's not some like high quality handmade thing that you're doing.
Sure.
Mine just like it's like a thick blanket. It's just a
Yeah.
whatever.
I've got one that was my grandma's. It wasn't obviously she didn't make it. You know what I mean? But it's just really nice, and I love that thing.
Can we get her on the phone?
No, she's dead.
Oh, is that Virginia?
Yep.
Rip. I helped carry her casket. I helped carry part of Virginia's body to her final resting place.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
what a friendship.
No idea.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't
I'm a
remember.
pallbearer, baby.
Wow.
I love funerals.
My grandma didn't.
Well-
my grandma wasn't happy with a lot of people at the end.
No?
she didn't seem to have a problem with Jason.
yeah,
so we
I got in
Okay,
there.
so she, yeah.
Jason's side gig. He's a pallbearer.
That's right.
Shoot.
That's exactly right.
So
Ask her about the quilts.
no, seriously, I custom making quilts, right? So
I cannot believe we're actually talking
Quilt
about
making-
We're
quilts.
doing this, babe.
quilt making is not a fast. This is not. I used to work with a lady who made quilts. She made amazing quilts, and I know that it is not a cheap hobby.
No.
And B, it is a very time-consuming hobby.
Why is it not
gosh.
cheap? I don't know. Thread, you would feel like it's
It's
very
not,
cheap.
but there's fabric. There's the foamy stuff like the padding,
Stuffins?
There's the
Wow.
lacy borders.
Help him out, babe.
You didn't know he knew all the
Wow.
technical stuff.
I'm shocked. I mean, just shocked. I was just totally kidding, but I mean, yeah, it's a real expensive hobby for sure.
It is. Is it? I'm serious, right?
No,
Okay.
you're right. You're
okay, because
right.
I thought
mean,
maybe you were just
can-
yeah. But
you
it
can
is
barely make a quilt for $90, let alone like buy it.
right because I wanted to have a t-shirt quilt made where you have a whole bunch of t-shirts, and my friend was like, "I would love to do that for you, but it." I don't think it's. I guess
Did Lucas have that at his funeral? Do you know?
I don't know if
I
he
feel
had
like
one.
he did.
Maybe he did.
Okay.
But it's. I mean, it's a time-consuming thing.
It would
and
be.
I can imagine as a wife and a mother of young children, finding the time to even do that makes it even more of a slow-paced hobby.
Yeah, that's true, especially with our littlest gremlin child is, she's just problematic on several levels, and another one of them is
This
being
is a good
able-
place to
you
let
know,
it
you
out, I
just
guess.
Yeah, I was gonna
can't-
say, just let
you
it
can't
out.
have a sharp object in her vicinity because she's going to find a way to get her hands on it, and it's just
Oh, yeah.
So
We say with Sylvie, that's our littlest. If you want to know if your home is baby proofed for whatever reason,
Send her in.
release my child. If you have asbestos in your home,
She'll find it.
she will find
if
it.
there's a fleck of lead paint, she's going to be licking it.
She'll be all over it.
This is a new business for your family.
Telling you, she's a cash cow.
Man, you guys take advantage of this while you can.
Yeah.
So how did you get into quilt making?
It was
Passed down?
a kind of pre-pandemic hobby. Yeah, I just had a friend taught me how to sew, and that's kind of what she's into. So that's what she taught me, and I had some family heirloom stuff that I worked off of, and now I make my own.
Pre-existing quilts that you use as like templates or what?
Well, I had a pre-existing one that was so tattered that it wasn't usable anymore.
Ooh, that's
but
an-
I
quilting.
salvaged.
Always say tattered. Always,
I
yeah.
salvaged some pieces of it and turned it into like one of those like zip up sleep sacks that toddlers wear.
Nice.
So
Okay, so your youngest is going to grow out of it. Do you still
Yeah.
hold on to it though, right? Because it's
yeah,
from
I
your-
thought about that because
Yeah.
now I've got Gwen wore it and now Sylvie will use it maybe this winter, but then
But still, afterwards you got to hold on to it. 'Cause is grandma?
yeah,
tatters?
we're gonna keep it and then maybe someday grandkids will wear it.
You know what I learned recently? Heather is from Danville, Illinois, which is about 2 hours away. She has two sisters and parents. We all have parents. Everyone in her family has migrated to the Peoria area.
We're like the black hole,
And-
just suck them in.
And very recently, your father put a bid on a house.
It got accepted.
That is okay. So
it's happening.
So 2 streets away from where I live, her dad's going to live.
Yeah.
What happens when when your dad and I become best friends?
Well, then you can be the one to go and pick him up from the bottom of that death trap of a driveway that he's going to have because
scoop him up.
I am very familiar with where he lives.
This is the home that he's going to spend his sunset years in, and this driveway is so long and so steep that I don't know how. I don't know.
It's a crater.
How is he ever going to come and go in the wintertime? I don't know.
Did anyone ever accuse your dad of being a smart man?
Well, he claims that he's going to use his truck hitch to drag his garbage cans up and down. So I mean,
he's got plans.
And you know what's weird, and I don't want to bring up anything too odd.
Going on over there.
Your dad's name is Matt.
Yeah,
and you married a guy named Matt.
Yeah, it's weird.
And then Matt, for a long time, you did date a lady named Ashley, and you have a sister named Ashley.
Right.
That's by almost all accounts fucked up,
weird
right?
psych stuff.
It's a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
I once lay down on the top of a lady that had the same name as my sister, and it felt odd.
Really?
Was it?
Yeah.
You mean like
let's unpack that
intimately,
Jason.
or do you mean just like
her name was
this like a situation like an earthquake?
Her name was Chicken Lady, and it was during an earthquake. Yeah, it was during the Giants World Series in '88. Yeah.
So Heather, I'm sorry.
Yeah. You
don't want to go back to the same marriage, name, father related?
Well, to be clear, I don't call my dad Matthew.
I
call him Dad.
Do you call Matthew Daddy?
No.
That's pretty personal.
Well,
I mean, you know what? Oh my gosh!
Context.
As
I was going to say, babe,
he is in my phone as Daddy.
Boom! We are really,
and we are off.
Okay.
The show just.
But the reason for this, there's an explanation that is not so gross and creepy, is because...
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Wouldn't you? My kids would use Alexa to call his phone, so they would say, Alexa, call Daddy, and it would call his phone.
See, that's sweet and innocent.
Not because I ever refer to him as Daddy, because that's gross.
Shouldn't like that.
I've also encountered that, and it's off-putting a little bit.
Being called Daddy?
You're saying in like an intimate setting.
Oh yeah, a different lady who was not the same name as my sister.
The same lady you were during the earthquake. This was said.
Oddly enough, not the same lady as my sister, but during the same earthquake.
Oh, a different earthquake.
No, same earthquake.
So going back to the quilts, I find this very interesting. Now I know.
Do you though?
No, seriously, I'm over it. Believe me, I wouldn't talk to you about it.
Jason's over it. Blake's
I'm ready.
We're only at 23 minutes. We got plenty of time.
Oh, okay.
But I know, like my grandma used to be a China paint. She used to do China painting, and they would have a club or like they would call it the guild. Is there a quilting guild?
Did you prepped him for this? Is that what you just showed him?
I plead the fifth.
Yeah. We do have a sewing guild.
Are you president?
No.
Treasurer?
No.
Are there roles?
No.
Are there positions in this?
I mean, I guess there should be. I mean, Jamie's got to be the president,
I would
right?
think so.
I mean,
Because,
yeah.
I know Jamie. She's president.
It's
Yes,
her house. She taught me how to sew. I think Lindsay kind of knew how to sew first, but Jamie's definitely the ringleader, and it happens at her house. When it happens,
do you brew any witches' brews while you guys are
Smart
together?
question. Good
Yeah.
question.
Occasionally, her husband makes us some really nice decaf.
Wow.
Whoa.
Heather, I'm just going to tell you,
Sometimes we might have a glass of wine.
Telling you.
man. You know what?
Blake's about to start quilting.
Blake's in.
I'm like, all this podcasting stuff can go. Perfect room to do quilting.
Quilting's
Perfect.
quilt room. Yeah.
It's
Cool.
therapeutic.
Well, no, it's congratulations on that hobby. I think that's a cool hobby.
Thanks.
I want to change the subject to something a little bit more darker. Very recently, your longtime dog passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
He's no longer with us.
Boomer
Last
was
month. June.
was it a bull mastiff or English mastiff?
English. Yeah.
And so that's a big dog.
Yeah.
But you had a smaller version, just by complete happenstance. You had a smaller version
He was the
of
runt.
that dog.
Yeah,
He
the
was.
runt
He
of
was
the
like
litter.
130 pounds. That's about 40, 50 pounds shy.
But truly, to give you a scope of the size of the dog, truly his head was the size of a basketball.
Yeah.
It really was.
He
it was
had a full-size head and
Yeah.
a lean body.
So yeah, he's kind of like a Pez
kind of like
dispenser.
your
Yeah,
son
he's
Cameron
like
when he was young.
The Pez
right?
dispensers
yeah,
of
we
English
have
Mastiffs.
we have
yes.
Pez dispensers in
Yes.
our house. Yeah,
Wasn't your son when he was real little?
Oh, yeah.
He had
Yeah,
a huge
oh,
head.
yeah.
mostly head.
Huge head, super skinny little baby body, lollipop.
That's
Lollipop. Yeah,
Lollipop
that's a good one.
baby.
That's what I always say
Another
about
guild.
about
Yeah.
Eli. That's what I would say about Eli. He had the hugest head. Like,
But he feels like he's grown into
yeah,
it. Right?
they eventually. But I remember the first time I saw him,
He just, like,
he was like
leaned in.
running down the hall, and I was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna fall over." That kid's head's so big. But
Any plans? Because usually they always, and for me it makes more sense. But like, if you the best way to get over a new lady is to get on top of a new one. That's what they always say. And I'm a disgusting pig. But the same thing is usually about a dog, though. Too, is they say the best way to get over the death of a dog is to get a new
Oh
dog.
boy.
Heather's shaking her head.
I'm in
violently.
disagreement.
Yeah.
I'm in disagreement as well.
Yeah.
No, I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I'm just curious
Sure.
if that is the case here.
Oh no, that's not happening at our home.
No.
We and she's not alone.
We're gonna
The-
relish our pet-free.
I was gonna
lifestyle
say
for a little
I've had
while.
I've had a pup since I was 10, and I honestly for a long time couldn't imagine life without him.
R.I.P. Boomer. R.I.P. Josie.
Oh, that's a deep cut.
How about
Thank
that?
you,
How
Jay.
about that? Remember.
Honestly, man, that guy.
Remember that.
Well, I'm not surprised. I'll say, but having 3 children under the age of 8, I guess, can be in 7. Yeah, that kind of changes the math for a little while.
Yeah, that's. And how long did you have Boomer?
15, almost. He would have been 15 in June.
a dog of that size for 15 years.
yeah.
8 to 10.
Improbable.
8 to 10
Yeah.
is what they told us. 8 to 10, and then we got 15 out of him.
Oh yeah, that is amazing because I the bigger dogs like that don't last that long. I am sorry I didn't know
Oh, well,
about that,
thank you.
dude. Because seriously, we both have a love for our pets, and
That's for sure. And Boomer met Rory. Yes. Back in the day at the dog park.
Yes.
That was when Blake
Oh,
and
right.
Blake and I had we knew each other from KK and
the KKK.
the KKK. Yeah, that's something else.
They've completely.
It was a guild.
They
We
got
know
a-
it was a
Well,
guild.
that's still a guild, though, right? Yeah.
They got a bad. They're completely reformed. But what they do now is totally.
Oh no,
different
ours
than-
is different. Yeah.
No, building KK
Now
is
it's
is a Caterpillar tractor building.
That's right.
Locally, that you guys both work, and I worked there too at one point.
That's right.
Yeah, so I had Rory for 13 years.
Yeah.
And when she passed away, I was not anywhere through any of the steps. But my wife, her way of dealing with it was, we got to get another dog. And I was like, no, we can't do that. Like this dog has been through 2 wives, and but her solution was
Final solution, as she called it.
the final solution that was we were going to foster. That way, we're not keeping a dog.
Right.
We're just helping a dog get to their forever home.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Well, that's like what 15 foster dogs later,
I was gonna say-
3 foster fails later. 15. Now I understand her what she does and why she does it. It's a motherly thing, I think. You know what I mean?
Or a crazy person.
Or a crazy person thing.
I'll
But yeah, enjoy the time.
the downtime there, right?
Yeah, don't make things more hectic than they need to be.
To
You know what I
not have an animal in your house is to not have an animal's asshole touch every single thing that you own.
Oh, amen.
And not even every single thing you own, but every single thing you own every day.
That's the truth.
A bare naked, disgusting
It's been-
animal's asshole touch everything that you own every day. That's what it means to own an animal.
Everybody's like, how do you let those little puppies go? Does it? How do you?
When you're fostering a pet.
Yeah, when you're fostering them, how do you give them to somebody else? I'm like, 5-8 weeks into this, I will drive to Texas with a free bag of dog food
To drop this dog off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're cute until you've had them for 5 or 8 weeks. But
Blake's entire house is covered with a thin layer of dog piss.
no, it's not.
It 100% is. Don't you dare lie to me. Not on one of the last shows.
Not the flesh.
I will say this, though. I do want to give props to Matt, and I think I did it offline, too, here, is that he did what I consider the most commendable thing when your dog dies, is he took the body and he buried it himself. That, I think, that's such a piece of closure and emotional process. Yeah. Some people, I don't want to name names, my sister, but her dog that I loved that dog. It was the greatest dog ever. Just they had a football-sized tumor. It says, hey, probably put them down. She said, okay, we'll put them down. And I understand, it makes sense. But then she just like left them there to be cremated and like folded into the workload of that day. But Matt took his buddy home and took care of him.
Yeah.
And I really do commend that. That is tremendous.
That's sweet. I remember when they gave us those options, they said, well, it's this much if you want him cremated by himself, which was a higher number.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you want to pay for a group cremation, the numbers here, this all felt transactional, and I had already made
This is just a financial decision.
yeah.
I'm commending you for a financial decision. That's
no,
not good.
No, and I'd already made my mind well up that he was coming home with me.
You think he's such a great person?
Yeah, I thought
saving
so.
a penny.
He was coming home with me. They even sent me home with the stretcher because he was too big and we couldn't get it out of the car. Like, I had the spot picked out at home, and it took the better part of 3 hours because in our part of the world, when you get about 2 feet down, it's clay, baby. I mean, it is just clay.
Right.
And Heather's out there watching me. I tried to get a tiller involved. That didn't work.
She's not helping at all, obviously.
She's like,
Just telling
No,
you how
it's
you're
like-
digging the hole wrong.
no, I thought it was kind of.
I had a lot of opinions about how he was doing it, and I kept almost all of them to myself.
We had already talked about it. Boomer was coming home with us, and that was. But it was still hard, even if you think you're emotionally prepared, it was just still.
No, you're never.
I think it was good for the kids, too, to get that closure.
That's what because we had Gwen come out and Cam come out, and they put flowers
Yeah.
on the grave and kind of had that moment. Gwen kept saying, "Dad, can I come out and see?" And Boomer's gravy is what she. And I'll never forget that.
It's like if
honestly,
Boomer got into milk or something and had like liquid hot shit. So it's like, can I see his gravy? I don't know if you want to. I don't think that's what you want to see. It smells awful.
I guess. I mean, yeah. Rest in peace.
Well,
Boomer.
he wasn't in a casket. Like, his body shall return to the earth, I assume, right?
They send you home with a cadaver bag. So if we want to get real, and the cadaver bag, my understanding
That's
is
how I
so
want to
that
go, by the way, Blake.
yes, it is biodegradable, but it keeps them enclosed so that nothing would come dig them up.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But their bag wasn't big enough, so we got most of poor Boomer inside of it. So
Which part's peeking out, the head or the tail? I'm going to guess the tail.
well, that's good. I think it was the neck up.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to have that hind end, secured for.
You want to cover up the gravy.
Yeah.
Can I come out and see the gravy?
All right, last thing I want to ask you about is it came up recently with Matt and I. We were talking about surrogacy. Can we talk about that or not?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What's that?
Well, Heather and I were talking about she's an open book on game.
Blake, what do you think that is?
I have no idea what that means.
Take a guess.
I don't know.
Okay. It can mean a lot of different things, but in their instance, they.
I just think it's not a thing I want to make a joke about.
Well,
I told you he'd make you laugh the whole time.
you had a. It's a thing where it's like you have a baby potentially ready to be
I know
born.
what we're talking about now.
But
Yeah.
and Heather, you've given birth to 3 of your children, but there's a 4th one on ice,
Right.
And you're saying, you know what, I'm kind of over it. Let's put that baby possibly in someone else. Is that truly on the table? And how would you go about finding the person to do that?
Well,
And can I be that person?
we're gonna.
Seems like a waste
I
of
feel
it.
like I feel like some biology might get in the way there, Jay. But
Never stopped me before.
Do you want to take this one, babe? Yeah.
He's willing to do whatever it takes.
Well, how much are you willing? Like, it usually starts surrogacy like at about 20,000
As
to
far
the
as-
mom. What are you? How low are you willing to go?
I'll do it for free. You know what I love?
He's in it for the experience.
It's like a Mr. Mom.
You know what I love?
is it?
I love Gorp. If you can give me some granola, oatmeal, raisin, and peanuts, I'm all in, man.
We don't want the baby to have that.
Okay.
Is that a thing? I've never.
Gorp, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look it up.
What?
Is that a
Okay,
combination
all
of
right.
cereals?
No, it's just like, like a mix. It's a hippie mix. You go out, you go hiking, you grab a bag of Gorp and take it with you. I will also do it for sushi if that's possible.
Now we can. Well, yeah, but you can't eat raw fish
Yeah,
for
that's right. That's right.
like 9 months, Jay.
$20,000 would be fine.
What's been settled here? Wow, what a crescendo! Like Jason's
You
gonna
guys
carry
really
our
are best friends.
Yeah, Jason's gonna carry our child. And that's how this.
Yep.
That's
So-
how the podcast.
So
ends.
I'm a little.
Please,
I'm
go
a little.
right ahead.
I'm a little confused.
Go right ahead.
So you have an extra egg that you.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And it's frozen right now.
Right.
And
Are you
fertilized,
saying Are you saying
It's an embryo. It's not just an egg.
Yeah, it's
an
fertilized.
embryo.
Yeah.
you're going over my head? It's I stayed with you on the quilt thing. I'm getting lost. So you had this egg.
Right.
You don't want it to be. You don't want to carry that thing, but you want to use it to have another child, but you don't want to carry it.
I don't know, man. The way Sylvia's
Or do you want to
giving
give
us
it
the
away?
runarounds.
Or you want to give it away?
Ooh-wee.
I was going to say this third, it feels like 33. Yeah.
Right.
But do you just throw it in the rubbish bin, or does it go somewhere
No,
else?
yeah. So we did IVF. We did the one fresh cycle and made all of our embryos at once.
Right.
High five that.
So essentially, the 3 children you currently have, even
don't know
though
if I should
by
high five.
all accounts they are different ages,
some
they're
people
kind of the same
consider
age.
them triplets because they were conceived at the same time.
We did IVF
but
because we're still waiting.
Okay.
yeah, we just yeah.
We haven't consummated our marriage.
But-
I feel better saying that on this last episode.
That's
Hold on a
That's not
second.
Eli.
Yeah.
That's Eli's.
You haven't lain
he's
down
a-
on top of your wife?
Not during an earthquake.
Sometimes,
Oh no!
excuse me. I got 2.
Excuse me. Only during an earthquake.
There you go. That's my boy. Just like I taught him.
What? Okay.
What do you do with that 4th one then?
Okay, well, okay. So we've had, we've had 3 kids. We have 1 more embryo that I can't carry due to a recent breast cancer diagnosis. And so yeah, that's our choice. We can either dispose of it, we can donate it to research, we can give it up for adoption, or we can find a surrogate to carry it for us.
What option, if I can ask, that you're leaning towards? I am curious.
Wow, that is a.
Oof. Well, surrogacy can be exorbitantly expensive. So I believe the top option for us at the moment is adoption.
Yeah.
But we're kind of in the thick of it with breast cancer treatment, and it's just not really an issue that we have to figure out right now. So it's kind of on the back burner.
Absolutely, I totally
it's
get that.
looming, but it's looming. We'll have to sort it
Do you
out
have a time?
eventually.
I mean, do you have a time frame?
In the meantime, it's $500 a year to keep it frozen.
So you mean a time frame as far as
He's
when
going to be making 7 times that on YouTube. You're
I
fine.
know, right? That's
Don't
why
worry
he's
about the rental. Don't worry about the
once
rental.
Blake becomes
the
my meme lord.
lo-fi. He's doing the lo-fi to pay the embryo rent. Freezer space is expensive.
you're gonna name that child Lo-Fi.
Meme lord.
This is Meme Lord Phillips.
I can't comment because I'm laughing.
What? So say you do give it up for adoption,
Right.
Do you feel like legally would you want any rights to know or spend time with the child, or not necessarily?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought that.
That's some.
about it.
Those are some heavy
'Cause
questions.
that's real heavy. And I have a couple friends I've even thought about, like, maybe they would, take
People
this
maybe who
embryo,
can't
but, like,
have children. Or
Then you got to
something.
watch someone else raise your biological child, and it just gets real complicated.
It gets
totally
kind of
understandable.
heavy fast.
Couple
yeah.
glasses
Yeah.
of wine, you're like, I wouldn't have done it that way.
Yeah.
Have like a nanny cam on him the whole time. Yeah.
Well, I have one child, as you guys know,
Yeah.
and she's an old lady now. But you have young children, and you guys are both tremendous parents. And if you decide to keep it, I think it would be a welcome addition to the group. But whatever you decide, I'm sure will be the right decision for you guys. But that's a heavy thing to decide. It's a heavy responsibility.
Super heavy. Well, we're fortunate that I was diagnosed when I was, because otherwise we would have been on schedule to probably do this embryo transfer in January or February. And then, getting diagnosed after that point would have been really tragic. So,
Super hard. Yeah.
Grateful for the timing, even though it makes this embryo decision really difficult.
Because of the nature of this cancer.
Right,
It would have been
right.
extremely hard on her.
Pregnancy would be super high risk for
Estrogen
recurrence.
spike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, since you brought it up, you mentioned the breast cancer. I don't necessarily need to get into anything specific, other than now that you are. I guess, would you consider yourself in the thick of it right now? Because I know there's been a lot of doctor's appointments. There's been some treatments, but there's still a ways to go.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think we've described the summer as like the calm before the storm.
That's
like,
how Matt's described it.
We know
towards
it's
me.
looming.
Mm-hmm.
We know there's a lot coming, but I would have started chemotherapy, 6 weeks ago.
Maybe even less than that. Yeah.
5-6 weeks ago, I would have started chemotherapy. And at the last minute, we got this test called an Oncotype DX back that indicated that my cancer would be really responsive to endocrine therapy. And that adding chemotherapy only gave me like a 1% bump like prognosis, and my chance of being cured went only up by 1% if I added chemotherapy. So at the last minute, we decided not to do that. We're doing endocrine therapy instead, which is basically at this point like a medically induced menopause to shut down all my hormones because my cancer is very hormone receptor positive. So
which means it's feeding.
Yeah,
off of that.
yeah.
Feeding off
So
estrogen,
the absence of that hormone even will cause it to die. So we're hoping, and I have another MRI in a couple weeks, that this endocrine therapy will cause it to shrink enough that they can get clear margins when they do surgery. So, and I know this is like the kind of content that obviously Couch Pilot listeners are here for.
That's
right?
what they expect.
Like, this is what they came for.
This is what they came
So, like, this is the first time anything important has ever been talked to on this.
No,
I mean,
not
come
true.
on,
If one of the four of us didn't announce that we had cancer on the show, we would get a lot of hate
on the
mail.
last show.
I mean,
yeah.
wow, this is what they're here for. So
Yeah.
Well, I've known you for the better part of 20 years.
Yeah.
And I've known for a few months now about the diagnosis.
Yeah.
And if no one had told me that, I would say that you emotionally and physically are as beautiful and as youthful as when I
Aw.
first met you. I
Yeah.
honestly,
Thanks, Jason.
I honestly would not have known anything. Your personality,
yeah.
your
Thank
emotional state is as positive as I have ever known you to be.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
honestly,
it's
big ups
been
to
a
you.
rough. We definitely had a few weeks there that were definitely the worst of my life. But I have a great medical team, and my prognosis is good. And
So
Matthew
your
is-
medical team is obviously the Lakers, right?
You mean like the Lakers training staff?
I think she was about to say Matthew.
We would never.
I just totally did a bit on a callback on somebody who had no idea there was a callback.
There it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
think,
very confused.
Sorry, I
I don't think you could have. You could get a better support system than your family and your husband here.
No.
Matt is a tremendous
Yeah,
guy.
it's been very obvious that Matthew has a master's in counseling. So, and that's been very nice and helpful. Yes, he's been the rock through all of this. So, handling all the bills and administration and my emotional meltdowns and all that. So,
Yeah, well, she's,
thanks, babe.
She's
Love
not
you.
giving herself, love you too, sweetheart. She's not giving herself anywhere near enough credit. She really has been the most resilient. I've tried to put myself in her shoes and I go, nope, well, that's not going to happen. Just how she's handled it emotionally, but even how she's just modeled this for the kids, talking about it with a 7-year-old, being strong in front of a 4-year-old who's wondering why mommy's going to all these doctor's visits.
Right.
And so, no, she's just been a picture of resilience, and we're gonna beat this, and shoot, we'll be on the other side of it. Better days ahead. Yeah.
I hate that there's some darker days coming up, but I know that you'll get on the other side of it, and you have such a tremendous support team.
Yes,
I know
yeah,
I know
I
that
sure
you
do.
know that.
Yeah,
and
I do.
I just hate that there's shit to come.
Right.
I hate that
There
so
is.
much.
Yeah.
But
Cancer sucks. I mean,
you'll
it
be
just
on-
sucks.
Well,
But-
that's kind of what I originally wanted to get to. Was you are a nurse at a cancer
Yeah.
center.
True story.
And so now that you're kind of experienced some of this from the other side of it, I doubt that it would get, maybe it does give you more empathy, but I can't imagine. I think you have to have a tremendous amount of that already working at a facility
Yeah.
like that. What insight, if any, has this given you towards the patients that you work with daily?
Yeah.
And what kind of message do you feel like that you could give to folks now that you're experiencing it
I
firsthand?
have definitely thought about like how will this change my practice going forward, because I have been a nurse for over 10 years at the oncology practice that I'm now a patient of. So it has made a difference. Although, to be fair, I've only worked a handful of times since my diagnosis, and I only work once or twice a month. Usually at least twice a month. But now that I, have all these appointments and stuff, it's less. But anyway, So, you just don't really understand. You kind of get it, but you don't really get it until you walk through it yourself. Like the fear and the waiting and the waiting and the waiting that goes on when you're being diagnosed and worked up with these things. So, and then of course, like now all these breast cancer treatments that I'm getting, I've known about them. I've passed exams about them for years and years. But when all of a sudden you're on the receiving end of this treatment, you realize like you really read it all and take it in with like a different level of interest. And now I'm reading everything I can about them and all the side effects that could possibly happen. And, how can I mitigate these in the future? And so you just really, it does take it to a much deeper level. And I think it does, I was certainly like an empathetic and caring nurse before I was diagnosed, but now that I have lived it myself, and just experienced like how agonizing it is to wait and wait and wait for the next result and the next treatment decision and the next imaging and the next everything. It's just, that's the hardest part of being diagnosed and being worked up, is like every time you turn around, it's like, oh, and we get this little tidbit of information, but now we have to wait 2 more weeks for the next thing that's going to help us make the next decision. And, so it'll be interesting, it already has been interesting to go through all of these things, like as the patient instead of the one providing the care. So I just narrowly dodged getting chemotherapy, which is what I do for a living in an infusion room, giving people chemotherapy. So I felt pretty prepared for that. And then at the last minute, it didn't happen. So now going into, most likely a double mastectomy and radiation therapy, those are not really my wheelhouse. But I will definitely get the full experience and be that much more knowledgeable and empathetic for the patients that I take care of that are going through all these things.
That's exactly what's going through my head. I don't know you as a nurse.
Yeah.
If you are 1/10 the nurse that you are a mother, then you're a tremendous nurse. And to think about what will be added to you in your arsenal once you're on the other side of this will be unbelievably invaluable.
Yeah.
So,
thanks, Jason.
Anyway, we're thinking about you and we're with you, and you have a tremendous support team, and and you're right, it is the waiting, it's the time.
Yeah,
we're right here. I can see that shit storm, and then we just got to get through that to get to the other side, and that sucks. But it is the waiting. So thank you for speaking on that.
Shitstorm's coming up, I guess.
Yeah. So thank you for speaking on it.
Get a front row seat. Now you can bring my kids Jason's big sandwich even more.
I know we need to get
They'll
to the...
love it.
I'm sure we need to get to the next part of it, but I think maybe a small bridge here would just be on the other side of it. Once she gets to have a choice in what does it look like, and to get some control back over this, maybe even some identity. And she walks into the office a couple weeks ago, and she's showing me on her phone, and it's this gal that's had a reconstruction. I just go, hey, what am I looking at? She's like, look at this. What do you think? And it's a gal who's gone to an artist up in Chicago, a tattoo artist up in Chicago, and he has almost entirely his clientele now is women who have had reconstructive surgery, and they've gotten these tattoos from, like, let's say the shoulder down across her breast and then like down onto her rib cage.
Right. And
it's like this, almost like this cathartic process for them to go through it and take some control back. And I thought, we don't have a tattoo between the two of us. I was like, we can talk to Blake about this.
Yeah.
I was like, he's got enough for all of us. But I mean, what's your advice about picking out a tattoo artist? Maybe that's my question.
I would say picking out a tattoo artist, it's not you definitely don't look at the dollar amount. You definitely do your research. You definitely look at their actual yes. Get drunk.
You pick someone by the quality of their work.
I mean,
right?
you and I don't just look at a book of their art. That anybody can draw something on a piece of paper. It's different to transpose that onto a human body, and you can have tattoo artists that have really cool albums with really cool art, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to translate. So, I mean, mostly like in that case, I mean, you have somebody that's like a specialty that they do. I mean,
he's given like TED Talks on the subject. Yeah. He talks about his clients.
I mean, I've got tattoos that are really, really bad, and you know, if it's just, I wish I could go back, and you can't.
You got that. You got that reverse mohawk one. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That was a tattoo.
Yeah.
You gave that to yourself in the shower, right?
Yeah. That's why I got distracted. It was in so much pain.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
Ding dong.
Ooh, boy, heavy first segment. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, last episode. Wow. What are you going to do about it? Who gives a shit? Hey, today we discussed the pilot episode of Harry Batt from the year of our Lord 2007. Great year.
2007.
Outstanding.
Let's go back there. And let's try to figure out what that is. See, 2007 minus. I was 32.
Hey,
I
just noticed you have my brother's video game convention sticker on the back of your
darn
phone
straight.
case. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm representing. I had a great time. Yeah. I was 32 years old.
I was 26.
You were 26 years old.
It's 23.
So that was, for me, that was 16 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know about how the roses were going. Let's see. No, I don't. I wouldn't say good roses. Not a good year for the roses.
Heather doesn't know what that means.
This is gonna be some contrast here then. 'Cause,
Heather, when a pilot comes up and we find out what year it was made,
Okay.
I either say it was a good year for the roses or not a good year for the roses.
Okay.
Good year for the roses means I was having a lot of sex with a lot of women.
Oh.
And
I thought maybe this was a Schitt's Creek reference, and I was going to
I love Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
One of the best shows ever.
Same.
Blake, is there a Rose reference in Schitt's Creek that I'm unaware of?
Their last name is Rose.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, all right. There you
A
go.
woes by any other name. Was it not a woes? I don't know what that was, man.
Are you a big Schitt's Creek fan? I didn't know that about you.
I do like Schitt's Creek.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
I've watched a handful, but you've gone through the series maybe more than
I've
once.
watched it twice.
Twice.
Really?
all the way
I'm
through,
gonna
yeah.
watch it a third time after surgery.
There you go.
There you go.
It's a good show.
It's like the perfect recovery show, I think.
But Matt was kind of alluding that it was a good year for the Roses for him.
Oh well,
He had just gotten married.
We had just gotten married.
Hey!
That was not to make it any more about us, but that yes, we were
Everything's
married.
about us tonight.
I guess so. October of 07, my grandfather married us in Champaign.
That's
I got a
awesome.
front row seat, baby.
That's right.
Ooh,
He was
yeah.
Jason was my best man, standing up there with me, and it was an incredible day. Yeah.
My
That's
daughter
awesome.
and her half brother were there.
Really?
Yeah, and that's when I used to buzz my head. My head was totally buzzed.
Oh yeah.
He got us.
Lorelai had a meltdown at the end of the aisle.
Oh,
refused
that's
to walk
right.
down.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah. She
You know
was
what?
Sweet.
If she did it perfectly, we wouldn't be talking about
If
it.
we
wouldn't remember
if
it.
we get her married off quick enough, Sylvie could be her flower girl.
There's absolutely
Oh,
going to be
yes,
a meltdown.
that
Oh
has
yeah.
to happen.
Wouldn't that be great?
That's
We're gonna train like the Olympics
Sylvie
for that
would be
meltdown.
shrieking like a banshee at
Eye
her
for an
wedding.
eye, right? Eye for an
Payback
eye.
time.
I thought it was the sweetest thing. That was incredible. And then
I don't think it's ever come up on the
and then
show
her
though. But yeah, my
brother-
daughter was your
yeah. And then her brother walks down. He's our ring bearer and the whole thing. It was incredible.
He looked so
Yeah.
regal in his little
Yes,
suit.
he
didn't
did.
That's too
Yes,
funny.
he
Stinking
did.
cute.
There's something about a kid in a tuxedo or a
I
suit.
agree.
No
You're just
joke.
like,
You're right.
yeah.
No joke.
There's a
Yeah.
baller. He's like 4. He's like, I'm a
Yeah.
baller.
Yeah.
I just
Let's go back to 2007.
in our minds.
And to do so, we'll talk about things that happened in 2007 because that's when the pilot was made, and it wasn't made this year, so we can't talk about in terms of 2023.
Right. There's a lot of things we have in 2023 that we did not have in 2007, and so we can't look at this pilot from today's standards. All right. We didn't have fossil fuels in 2007.
Right.
All right. We did not have.
You got it. You got it, buddy.
I'm trying to.
can do this.
I'm trying to.
You got it.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Carry the one.
I'm trying to censor myself because Matt's here and his wife's here, so I have to double censor.
Has this segment ever gotten that dirty? Huh? I don't feel like this segment's ever been that
He's
dirty.
about to. It's the last episode. So
right. I was like,
Yeah.
I
All
feel
right.
like
Well,
he's spending more time on a crutch on why he can't do the segment than focusing on the
we
segment
did not have
itself.
we did not have fiberglass. Okay,
All
that's
right,
another
here
thing.
we go.
Fossil fuels and fiberglass.
Gosh, baby, we've been married forever. I guess.
Wow.
And one of the most important things we did not have in 2007, we did not have Band-Aids.
Thank you very much. Woo, that was tough, wasn't it?
Good grief.
Isn't it,
I'm
isn't
a little overwhelmed
Isn't
right
it
now.
weird how more tough it's getting?
Where have I been?
Should be getting easier by all accounts.
It should be
Not the case.
I should.
We
If
somehow have less Band-Aids
if
now.
if I took 45 seconds to prep, it would go seamlessly.
But this is better.
I know, right? It is. It really is.
Instead, you're on your piss-filled couch just looking at the wall. Right? Hey, here's some things that did happen that year. July 4th, the International Olympic Committee awards Sochi the right to host the 2014 Winter Olympics. The Winter Olympics is
Boring.
right up there. Well, they're right up there with PETA, right, as far as being like the most corrupt organizations in the country, right?
Oh, the actual
Olympic
Olympic
Committee.
Committee?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Olympic Committee is just full of shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that last? Was it like? Was it Rio? And it's like all the structures are like falling apart.
Oh, yeah, they weren't even
Oh
done.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
they-
they even talk about the economy of a host city just tanking afterwards.
Really?
Yes, so it's not great.
You think that we're gonna have this big, huge event, and it's gonna
Influx in the economy.
It
No,
unifies the world.
the infrastructure literally falls apart, and in Rio it already was. So yeah, not great.
You ever have any desire, Heather, to go to see an Olympic Games?
No, none.
Do you have a favorite Olympic sport, whether it be summer or winter?
Well, as a child, it would have been figure skating.
Of course.
Oh, winter
It's
sport
like the
then,
only
yeah.
one in the winter that people like is the
Yeah.
For
figure
sure.
skating.
Yeah.
That until like some of the snowboarding stuff got pretty cool for a while.
But that's newer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
newer.
Can you imagine?
half pipe and stuff like that.
How,
yeah.
how psyched
Yeah.
would you be if someone says your nickname is the Flying Tomato? I'd be like, that kind of sounds like fucking shit. I don't think I want that to be my nickname at all.
Too bad.
right.
Yeah.
You don't give yourself a nickname.
Hey, July.
Yeah, it's like given to right.
Yeah, you have to earn it.
You have to inherit it. Yeah.
Hey, July 7th, the Live Earth concerts are held in 9 major cities around the world to raise environmental awareness. Many of the cities feature live entertainment following a 6K run/walk. Artists include Melissa Etheridge
Ooh, yeah.
in Los Angeles with The Roots, special guest John Legend in Brooklyn's Prospect Park, Rob Thomas in Atlanta, Collective Soul with special guest Sam
Collective
Moore
Soul.
in Chicago, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
One of my favorite DVDs was that Melissa Etheridge DVD I had. It was a double, and I gave it to a lesbian, but it was my favorite DVD. I mean, it was just her acoustic.
Right.
It was great.
She's great.
You didn't get it back, or
No, I gave it to him. Like I was like, here,
My rule
Celebrate
is
yourself.
if you ever give something to a lesbian, do not expect it back. That's
no,
kind of
yeah,
my
you
rule.
definitely do not get it
Rule of
back.
thumb that you have.
Yeah.
What's the last concert you went to, Heather?
Oh,
Musical concert.
it might have been that Bush concert where.
No.
Oh, that's right.
I like how he backed away.
Matthew knows.
You can say it.
He knows.
Helper.
Help me.
Who-
I
who-
did see the Chili Peppers in Chicago last year. You
Oh,
were there.
that's right. I was
yeah,
there.
you were there.
We were at
but
the
I
same
also
concert.
I thought I was thinking of the Bush concert where Gavin Rosdale walked right past me and
She
I touched
touched him.
his sweat.
And she hasn't washed.
And then I
since.
wiped it on Matthew's face for him because I knew that he would
That's
love
right.
that.
I haven't. Yeah.
But you touched him too, right?
Transfer.
Didn't I push you into him or not? Did you get to touch him?
See, I don't. I think you did try to bump me that way, but I feel like Heather was the one
See
who
if
made
people
contact.
parted in front
Yeah.
of me, and there was Gavin Rosdale, and I had his sweat on my hand, and I turned and I rubbed it on your cheek.
From what part of his
And I-
body was the sweat that you received it?
I feel like it was from his arm, maybe
arm.
chest.
Okay.
It was upper.
But you
upper body
upper-
area.
He's not
Upper
as
sweat?
tall
I
as
wasn't
thought
groping
he was.
him illegally or anything like that.
Bullshit.
I mean,
you don't get someone's sweat on your arm by not
I told
reaching
her
out to
to.
grab
did you
it.
see the way he looked at me, Jason? He was
Yeah.
asking for it.
Yeah.
He was asking for it. He eye fucks everyone in his crowd, man. Hey, I got some.
I told her. Yeah.
No, that's kind of his thing. Matt and I have seen Gavin Rosdale, I think thrice, right?
Yeah.
You saw him as like a solo act.
Springfield, Peoria, and Chicago.
Well, twice as Bush, and the
And
first time was
that's right. One of us is solo tour. Yeah.
Where was that at? It wasn't the Hard Rock Cafe. What was
House
that?
of Blues.
Yeah, that's right, House of Blues.
House of Blues.
And it was like a solo thing.
Yes.
But like every time we see him, he does a thing where he goes out into the audience.
Yes.
And he sings a song or something. And so he came by us, and I remember him coming close to us. And would I love to touch Gavin Rosdale? Oh, you bet your bottom dollar. But Matt was in front of me. I said, you know who he loves more than anything else? He loves Gavin Rosdale. So I pushed Matt towards him, and I thought that you touched him. And the fact
Man.
that you don't know is super depressing.
It gives me pause because
you could not have touched him. You
I
would know if you
It's
did.
like
That's
you
what I
wasted
mean.
you wasted a touch by giving it to Matt, and then he doesn't even
That's
remember
exactly
it.
it.
But that's just the thing. I don't think I did, and I also don't have the stomach to break his heart right now. But Heather for sure touched him. Yeah.
My hand was wet. He was a very sweaty man.
Oh,
I mean-
he was working hard.
He was working hard.
He was earning it.
Yes, he
True.
was.
Very nice. All right. I think we said our ages, didn't we? All right.
Sure.
That's fine. Heather, there are 3 reasons why we choose to watch any pilot. Okay. That's what we. I don't know if have you ever heard the show before?
I've listened to one episode.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Have you ever heard a podcast outside?
Only
of the
$3.99 more to go.
Yes, I have.
What's a podcast? Is?
Most recently, I'm listening to The Retrievals. It's fascinating.
Okay.
Then there's another episode coming out soon, and I also really like "You're Wrong About" by Sarah Marshall.
Huh. I don't know either of those. I'll have to look into them.
Yeah.
But on this show, we primarily only look at TV shows that had only one episode. But there's 3 reasons why we look at any of them. Would you fancy a guess at any of those 3 reasons?
Are you punishing yourself for something?
Got the chip.
Kind of my MO.
That's the only thing that comes to mind, especially upon watching a couple of the pilots. We just need to dig into that. Jason, why don't you like yourself? You're putting yourself through
Don't you
this.
dare put this back on me.
Putting yourself
if
through
you want to
this all
know,
the
you can
time.
listen to the past 400 episodes and
Why I
really
don't like
dissect what's
myself.
wrong with me.
Yeah.
But you don't know?
You want me to keep guessing why we're doing this?
The first one was to punish myself.
Yeah, to punish yourself.
Okay, what's the second one?
Yeah, what's one more?
One more reason that you could possibly be watching one episode
She's getting physical
of a
cues
show.
from it.
All right.
He likes to like gesticulate wildly in the air as though it's going to mean anything to anyone. He's got these ridiculous claw
Matt
hands
does the same,
up.
or Blake
do
does the
have-
same thing to me. Sometimes.
I don't know what you mean.
We're like the Jose Oquendo of third base coaches.
You,
Jose Oquendo.
You don't have time to binge
Greatest-
watch more
greatest
than
third
you
base
know,
coach
You don't
ever.
have time for a season.
I thought
right?
you were trying to say
just
Jose Canseco.
No,
One and
Jose
done.
Oquendo.
Hit it and quit it. Is that what you're going for here, Jason?
I'm done. I don't want any more from you. That's ridiculous. Hey, you can find the entire episode of Harry Batt by subscribing to Couch Pilots and SoundCloud, Spotify,
Earthquakes.
Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube. Heather? Thanks for being here.
And you'll know what to do too.
You'll get a chance later.
Strap in. Are you? Is your seat comfortable, Heather?
Is it
Yeah,
upright? Is it
I'm-
upright?
It's the most camo chair I've ever been in.
What would you... It's... Nothing in my life, camouflage-wise, has ever been bright orange. But by every conceivable...
It's so you don't get shot.
that is a camouflage chair, but
Yeah,
it
it's
includes the...
winter camouflage.
So you don't get shot at.
Yeah.
But like super specific winter at dusk. This is a 3-minute period where this camouflage works, right?
No, it would all day long, all day.
Okay, if you say so. Hey, summary of the pilot. Detective Inspector Harry Batt deals with changes to the recruitment age for the police force and pursues a soft furnishing bouncer gang. Blake, would you like to grade that summary?
Yeah, I would give that summary probably a B+. I liked it.
A B+. Matt, would you like to grade that summary? It's based on the grading scale. You know how it works.
I do know how it works, but I always feel
A
very
through-
self-conscious
A
in front of
through
Blake
F.
on this. A through F.
Self-conscious in front of me?
He said, "Well, no, because you're such a He really gives us a lot of thought. I'm gonna go with a B. I feel like I'm an easy grader, but I don't know. It didn't do a lot for me.
Heather, do you want to grade the summary? The answer can be no, too.
I give it an A.
I like that.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Did you summarize this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, A, definitely.
I'm going to go to the bathroom. Will you intro interesting facts?
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Interesting Facts. This is the part of the show where Jason has scoured the internet to find out facts about this show that you may not know. Heather, there's just a couple simple rules. During... I knew he was going to leave it going. During Interesting Facts, you're not allowed to share your opinion of the facts. You can comment on the facts, but you can't share your opinion on them. You can't...
Okay. Are they
Go ahead,
real
Blake.
facts
No, you
or
can do it, Blake.
alternative
She
facts?
can handle it.
Okay, well, it's important that you don't taint someone else's experience.
Okay.
Do you have?
I will sit in silence.
No.
She's afraid- she's afraid
We're
she'll
not
taint
trying to scare you.
I will reserve judgment.
No, you can. He has worked hard on these, and there a lot of times they're actually interesting, but you can't give your opinion of them, but you can make comments on them.
Right.
You just can't affect anybody else's
Impair
receiving
their
of them.
judgment,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You can't yuck their yum. Is that a phrase of prize here?
I've never heard that
That's a
before.
pun.
A surprise?
Does that...
What is yuck your yum?
I don't.
mean?
Yeah, please let me know.
Have
It
you
sounds
ever
like something
heard
I
of
really
Have I-
like. It sounds like
This
something
sounds
I'd really
like
be into.
This sounds like a Blake thing.
New hobby.
We got what?
Yeah,
sorry,
that's
excuse
like
me. Stock cars and yucking your yum.
You know, slot cars. I can't wait till wintertime because they don't do it in the summer, so they just sit there. Yeah.
So they just sit. Yeah.
You know, what I did the other day. I went to a tractor pull. You ever been to
really?
a tractor pull?
No, only heard of them.
Wow. No.
I had never been there.
Like-
and so my wife, the company that she works for, the owners, the husband and wife, they sponsor a team of, and they have a very large, very expensive It's a tour bus, like, you know, and they during the summer they go to see all these. It was actually really, really fun. It was amazingly fun.
Yeah.
I was told that the event was going to be in Henry, Illinois.
Okay.
Way
Okay.
north of here. Yeah.
So I, that morning, on my phone, typed in Henry County Fairgrounds.
Okay.
Guess what?
Not there?
We drove way out of the way to Henry County Fairgrounds, which is up by Kewanee.
Oh, no.
And we kind of pulled up to it, and my wife looked at me, and I looked at her, because there was not a car, there was not a nothing, and there was supposed to be
We must be early.
It must be really early. The look on her face was very, very familiar to me.
Like the what did you do?
Like, how did you? And come to find out, it was another. So we went an hour and a half up, an hour over.
No.
And it took 45 minutes to get home. So we
That's
were an hour. It was supposed to be. It was an hour away. We were an hour away. We got there in about 40 minutes.
Shoot.
But yeah, go sometime to a tractor pull. It's fun. It was cool.
Interesting fact.
Very loud.
I don't know what I missed, and I'm not going to go back and listen to it.
The only thing you did. Do you know how to yuck your yum? Because I'm thinking about the next podcast. I'm going to investigate.
Look how much you got her.
Do I
remember-
know how to yuck my own yum?
Well, I mean, you could do
Without-
this.
yeah.
You can yuck somebody else's yum, but I figure if you don't know how to yuck your own yum, you can't do somebody else's, right?
Heather
I
asked.
feel like I'm being attacked.
Do you remember that?
Are you attacking me?
Do you remember that Richard Simmons podcast
Heather
where we were
asked
trying to find
Blake.
Richard Simmons?
Yes.
I want to do a podcast of finding out what yucking your yum is.
Like what the phrase means, or what it means as people,
Like it's-
individuals?
The
Like
phrase where
Stop
it came.
yelling at me.
Etymology.
First of all,
The
Yeah.
phrase where it came from. What do you do? How do you do it? Do you have to wear plastic at some point?
Heather asked Blake.
plastic.
Jay, while you were in the John,
Heather asked Blake if he'd ever yucked his
Why
yum.
did you do that?
And now it appears that Blake has found himself in some kind of identity crisis.
He is very angry.
No,
No, I'm not
He is
excited.
full
In
out.
my defense, he was explaining to me that I was not to share my opinions on your interesting facts.
Oh, please don't do that.
Lest I color someone else's opinions
Taint.
of them.
I
And I
said
said,
taint.
oh,
Taint.
you
I
mean
said
like
taint.
yucking your yum? And then this started.
So
That's
her
usually
synonym for taint was yucking your yum.
Yucking your yum. Every one of those words are trigger words for Blake Clayton.
don't say Bobby socks.
So much so that he's now attacked Jason.
I do feel attacked.
The show notes are just going to say yuck yum Heather Matt.
have a nice day.
The rest of the stuff is just irrelevant.
Let's break down the interesting
Podcast
facts
over.
here. You know,
I'm out.
You know, we did before we get into interesting facts. I want to say there are kind of 4 reasons why we chose this pilot. You guys, we danced around them. The 3 reasons are, Blake. What are they, real quick?
One is that it was a pilot that only one was made. Whether it aired or not is irrelevant. Number 2 is that we had to be able to find it on the internet. And number 3, it had to be free, baby. And the 4th, which is a phantom one.
Are you throwing that back to me?
Yes.
Okay. Every episode this season, we've hand-picked episodes for the guests. Not only did we say we wanted very specific guests for each episode, but we also hand-picked the pilot in question. Now, it doesn't as much apply to Heather. It's your first time on the show.
Okay.
But it applies more to Matt. Matt, can you take a guess as to why?
No, I got it.
You know why.
Here's I'm brimming with confidence.
Matt
so
and I have
watch
not
me.
discussed this previously.
Watching me take a spill here. I have a deep admiration and respect for one Mr. Chris Tuckley. Chris, when you listen to this, Jason, this would be how I'd explain it. Jason has talked about how he can be ensorcelled when someone brims with confidence.
Ooh, I do say that. That's right.
When I
And all I do is say yuck my yum.
Stop yelling at me.
I'm trying to share this. When Jason shared with me a number of things that Chris has written in with over the years, and each time I look at that and I go, I am a dumb person. That's what I feel. It's honestly like it's so
is it
eloquently.
because you're reading it in his accent? So no matter what he
Well,
says,
I do
like,
kind of
you
picture him
assume
reading it
that he
to
sounds
me.
Smarter.
Well, he's incredibly intelligent, but it's that kind of intelligence that can pen something like that, but he hits this balance between just humor and also just being so eloquently spoken, or written, I should say, that I look at it and I go, well, I need to go back to school. And that's about where I'd leave it. Am I right?
Well, first of all, for people who don't know, Chris Tuckley is a listener of the program who's been very engaged with the show. He's from the UK.
Super fan.
And he was a super fan, I would guess. But I would also say that I think he not only is really intelligent, but also the British way of speaking also does kind of communicate.
It charms me. Yeah.
It's charming, and there is a certain amount of intelligence that is assumed, especially from some fucking white trash pieces of shit like us.
Right.
So
that's what he would say.
Those are Chris's words, not mine. but you're exactly correct when you say that I chose this because not only has he. Chris gifted us 3 full seasons
yes, sir.
Of the Tuckley 10. He's found 30 failed British pilots that we have covered over the years. He's given us 3 full seasons of shows to do. But also, this last episode is kind of a tip of the cap and an homage to not only him, but Matt's love of one Chris Tuckley.
Indeed.
So this is we bow and we honored you, Chris, on this last episode, and that's how we landed on a British pilot.
Well done.
It seemed very fitting and of how to do it. Chris Tuckley has probably been super fan number 1.
Sure.
And the time and effort that the one thing I want to describe how much of a fan he is, we were probably 2 to 3 years into the show, doing the show, before he found it. He went back and caught up to us. He listened to every episode and caught up to us. That is
Blake's favorite Chris Tuckley fact.
He listened to a couple hundred hours of this show
to get caught up.
Caught up.
So that's why we do it. I did want to mention that before we went further.
No, well played.
Let's go back to interesting facts here. The character of Harry Batt first appeared on Dick and Dom in a Bungalow in 2004 at the beginning of the show's 4th series. Dick and Dom in a Bungalow was a British children's television series presented by the duo Dick and Dom, Richard McCourt and Dominic Wood. The series was broadcast on weekend mornings for 5 series on CBBC channel BBC One and BBC Two, running between August of 2002 and March of 2006. Fact. Harry Batt's main reason for coming to Da Bungalow was to punish presenter Dominic Wood after it was learned that Wood had cheated in a game of That's the Stuff, on which Dom had replaced a jar of garlic mayonnaise with yogurt. Harry forced Wood to eat the garlic mayonnaise live on live TV as punishment. Fact. On January 12th of 2007 at 5 p.m., the pilot episode of Harry Batt's long-awaited series aired as part of Gina's Laughing Gear. Gina's Laughing Gear was a special programming slot which was presented by Gina Yashir. It was shown on Friday afternoons on BBC One and repeated on Saturday on the CBBC channel. The purpose was to showcase new CBBC comedy at the time. Fact. Harry Batt is played by Ian Kirkby, who has been acting in British television and film since the early 1980s. Fact. I got a lot of facts.
I guess so.
Fact.
You're fact heavy.
I got a couple more. That's factastic. The show is written by Ian Kirkby, Dave Chapman, Steve Ride, and Julian Kemp. Also appearing on the show are Chapman, Melvin Odom, and Lee Barnett, who have also appeared with Kirkby in Dick and Dom in Da Bungalow and The Slammer. The Slammer was a talent show for children that was broadcast on CDBS and Nick Jr. from September 2006 until July of 2014. Fact. Final fact here. After the pilot, Harry Batt appeared with another Geordie Copper, played by Dave Chapman, in the Legend of Dick and Dom episode The Mists of Time. Harry also returned to CBBC to celebrate the anniversary of Dick and Dom in a Bungalow alongside Dick and Dom. End.
That was dick heavy.
Now, Blake, you consider...
See, you found it, yeah.
Blake, you would not consider yourself a Dom, right?
Fact.
Huh? Oh, I'm a sub for sure.
I went to Fedora's the other day, and I just got myself a delicious sub.
Really?
Oh, yeah. $10.99.
Fedoras?
Oh, yeah. Glennon University, baby.
Okay.
The sketchiest, weirdest fucking sandwich shop in town. Twitter responses.
Twitter responses. I wonder if Jason got some Twitter responses.
here on Couch Pilots, we take a look at all the pilots and we dissect them. We say, who are the writers, the creators, the directors, producers, and actors of these? And we say, hey, greetings from the Couch Pilots podcast. We talk about TV shows that had only one episode. Next up for us is Harry Batt. We're excited to watch, and we're wondering if you had any fun or interesting info you'd like to share. Thanks.
Love to hear from you.
We hope to hear from you. That's right.
You should write. We would love to hear from you.
Well, it's too late for that now, isn't it? What a stupid fucking criticism of what I've been doing for 8 years at the last possible moment.
Man, there's so
God
much like.
damn it! You gotta be fucking kidding me.
We just need some time apart.
This is really hitting a fever pitch.
You understand?
Yeah.
He's giving me constructive, quote unquote, constructive criticism at the last moment. This is the last episode.
This is healthy. This is really healthy.
Man, I think this is the real reason why you were asked
No, it's
to
not.
be booked
No,
on
it's
this
not.
show.
I didn't know you were gonna say something stupid like that.
I think.
Of course you did. Of course you knew I was going to say something stupid.
I think 4 years ago.
You
Didn't I have to come in and like mitigate some kind of or come in and like mediate?
Yeah.
Excuse me,
We've been doing it for 8
mediate.
years. That's 4 years ago.
Someone had to do push-ups.
We're due up.
Someone had to do push-ups.
My pecs are radiating.
That's all I remember.
I got a response.
we had the 4-year itch.
I got a
Yeah.
response from Melvin Odom. It's Melvin Odoom. Yeah, I'm not a racist guy at all, but I'll say he is the black gentleman in the show. There's only one black guy. He was the black guy in the show.
It was in the interrogation room.
Well, you know what? I found that in my IMDb searches that a lot of these characters played various roles throughout the show. So I think he was a couple different people in the program.
Okay.
He responds by saying, Harry is based on a character from the popular kids' TV show Dick and Dom into Bugalow. Come on, Melvin, I knew that. He was so popular that our producer, @SteveRide, decided to make Harry Batt. To me, it was like a short film. And we had lots of fun making it.
Nice.
Hey, Melvin, thank you so much for your response. I genuinely appreciate
Indeed.
that. We had one more response, and this one was from Eliza Power. And this is a young lady. You can find her at ELIZA Power on Twitter. And she says, haha, sounds so much fun. Of course, I would love to share some stories about this pilot. And then Chris Tuckley chimes in, and we rarely bring him up on here, but it's suiting by all accounts. And he says, what a scoop. Can't wait for this episode. And Eliza says, this also sounds like a podcast I needed to subscribe to.
What?
So I contacted Eliza, and I on several times, and she even responded once back to me, but I have not gotten that. I would love to have had one final interview.
Right.
I don't know that it'll happen. But at this point, while we're recording, she did not respond to set up a time to record. I strongly suspect that she's listened to any of our past episodes and then made a decision. Anyway, let's break down the pilot. This is a half hour. This is a comedy. And it's a spin-off. We did a series. Remember that? We did a season of spin-offs?
Right.
Only spin-off shows that failed. This is kind of that.
Yeah.
This is a British spin-off, though.
Now, Heather, during this, you feel free to butt in and give your opinion or any kind of comment.
Now I can share my
Now
opinion.
now you can taint the
Okay.
episode.
You got it.
Okay.
Yeah,
now I
yeah.
can yuck your yum.
Ugh. Don't
Hey,
trigger him.
I mean-
I was going to say, he just got,
I mean,
That's no good.
you're a guest. I mean, if you...
We're going to break down the plot here, and if you want to chime in with
be
any
my
of your-
guest.
any of your thoughts or notes on the pilot, please do. We start at night. Two men dressed to camouflage themselves at night. They look on through binoculars at a man in a house who opens a safe,
And
and the
then
guy sets an alarm, and you think, oh, these are two burglars. They're going to come in and steal.
Had
from
a
this
Home
man.
Alone feel to it to me.
It
Very
did.
much so. And they sneak up, and after the husband and wife go upstairs, and she had put her jewelry in, and he locked it up. And they go upstairs, and the two burglars, they go and they disarm the alarm for the house because they saw what the buttons were.
How did they do that?
Binoculars?
No, they disarmed it through the mail slot
piece-
like
with a piece
stick.
of-
Stick or a cane or something like that.
I was going to
yeah.
say rebar. I think it was a piece of rebar.
It could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they sneak in the
3/8
house.
inch rebar.
What happens? What happens when they get
best kind.
into the house? Do you know?
So they get into the house, and instead of going over to the safe, they go over to the couch and just start jumping on the couch, crazy like crazy madmen, and kind of like screaming.
It kind of gets tense for a moment. You're like, oh my gosh, what kind of tone is this show going to start off with? And then, like Blake said, they just start jumping like crazy people.
Unless you do your own investigation, when I send you the links for the shows that you're going to be on, you genuinely have no idea what you're getting
none.
yourself.
None.
I had no idea. And so when I saw them jumping on this couch, I was like, what? And the guy wakes up, goes downstairs,
That
and
homeowner,
and they're gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did I miss something? I honestly, I thought I was like, I had to have missed something.
Right.
Nobody has said anything to this point. There's not been any kind of verbal communication with anybody. I don't even know.
No Discord, nothing. Yeah.
At this point, I don't even know it's a British television
That's
show.
right.
That's true. You wouldn't know. No one said anything. British humor is traditionally very dry and very absurd, and this comes through in this pilot in spades.
Oh, yeah, no question.
We cut to introduced to Harry Batt, who does his own narration for the show and the parts that do have narration. We see the police chief announce that he's lowered the age for people to become an officer from 18.
Yeah, 'cause they don't-
Do you remember the age, Heather?
No. Was it
The youngest
it
kid.
was young. Was it 6 or 7?
4. It was 4.
Yeah, because they don't have enough police officers.
Be like
They have to lower the age.
Middle child becoming a
on the
police.
job.
Yeah.
Many of the other officers don't like that, so they appear to leave the force. There's some behind, and a lot of kids, but Harry vows to stay on with this legion of toddler coworkers. We get a nice montage of Harry tackling a furry, which means someone who likes to live their life in a mascot outfit and does adult things in it. And he jumps into a pile of cardboard boxes for no reason.
Right, and all the while there's just a band of kids of all different ages following him. They're all in the cop suits.
And he
Right.
busts through a door like it's balsa wood or something. Yeah.
It's like a very action sequence, like a Starsky and Hutch kind of thing.
Yeah.
At the station, the chief is allocating 2 officers to the big darts event that is coming to the area, and he picks them with a spinning raffle. He's got apparently all the names on balls in this big raffle that he's spinning, and the chief, that once he picked the 2 people, he then carries this large raffle very awkwardly out the door.
Out the double doors.
This is all kind of quote unquote subtle, absurd humor.
And Heather, at this point, how many times have you laughed? At this point in the pilot,
I just in stitches, Blake.
makes sense.
I'm very smart, and I get that British humor.
In the past, when I mentioned before that we've done 3 seasons.
No?
No.
Okay.
3 seasons of British failed pilots based on Chris Tuckley's submissions. And Blake is always, in the past, if there's a woman with big breasts, Blake would be like, I'm going to give this pilot a breast bump. So and when he goes to score it, he'll gives it a bump. But then when it was a British pilot, you would go down a bump immediately because you couldn't understand what they were saying.
Right, yeah.
Did you have a problem understanding what they were saying?
I did have issues with dialogue on this, mostly with when there's this kid who's got a lisp and has teeth are way bigger than her mouth.
If there was a boob bump and a British accent, would they cancel each other out?
Depends how big those boobs are.
Okay.
I'm being honest.
Well, yeah.
Can't fault him for that. Don't yuck his yum, guys. Hey, when we then go to an auction. The name of the auction is Crispies instead of Christie's, which is a famous auction.
Yep.
A house. And the Mona Lisa apparently had just been sold off, which is ridiculous. And now we get a sofa from 1997, which is being sold, which is barely 10 years old at the time.
And it's been announced that it's somebody famous. I don't
even know if it's someone famous. The name was Anthony Worrell Thompson, which may have just been a fake name that was supposed to add prestige to it.
Right.
But there was nothing. I don't know.
Right.
And it's to be sold for about £50 when a woman starts to freak out in the crowd. And she's freaking out because of some camera stuff they're doing.
Right.
It's like 28 months. What is that?
You want to say 28 days later? Is that what you
No, 28 months. What is that? The old Brad Pitt, the zombie movie or whatever it is.
Z? Something? A World War Z?
That's a little bit newer. No, I'm thinking like late 90s, early 2000. 28 Monkeys, something, whatever that's called.
Yeah. I know what you're talking
They
about.
get super
jerky and
jerky
twitchy.
And, yeah.
And she's sitting there, and he's like, "Are you all right, ma'am?" And and then all of a sudden, he hits the gavel, and she just runs over, jumps on this couch, and starts jumping on it.
Said Anthony Worrell Thompson was an English restaurateur.
Boom.
Oh,
Celebrity
wow.
chef,
How about that?
Television presenter and radio broadcaster.
I had no idea.
Bringing
Well
the
done.
heat.
There it is.
Look
yeah.
at that,
Well done.
Wikipedia.
I thought you were just going to tell your babysitter you were late. Interesting. Meanwhile, Harry Batt walks past a window of a group of folks jumping on furniture when people start filing in the streets and talking to Harry Batt and saying, hey, people are jumping on my furniture.
Yeah, I mean, it goes crazy
this
quick.
This is an epidemic.
Yes.
Elsewhere, there's live theater being performed, and the show is called Knickers to Vickers, which, if you say it in a British accent, doesn't sound
I
great.
kid you not. I said that to her. I said, what did they just say?
Yeah, they did.
Knickers to the Vickers. That
She
was
knew
the
it.
only thing I wrote on my page of notes. I was watching this just confused from the get-go, and the only note I took down was the title of the play.
Yeah,
Knickers to the Vickers.
you know, if you're American hearing a British accent,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound great.
It sure didn't.
Right there. So there's these two actors that are on stage, and the doorbell starts to ring, and
It's obviously not part of the
right, and
play.
it keeps ringing. And you can tell that they're trying to continue with the play, but and finally they open the door, unlock the door, and this person runs in and just starts jumping.
and they're not one of the actors.
No, and
There's
just starts
someone.
jumping on the couch.
Yeah.
And when I say jumping, it is full span, like
It's like high knee,
high
Very animated.
high knee bounce.
high knee bounce.
That's your favorite position too, isn't it, Blake? The hiney bounce. Is that right?
Are you saying?
I yucked his yum. I apologize. At the police station, Harry is putting a map of the
I could
area,
tell by the look on his face.
and he's marking all the sites. where
Which
these
is the
crimes-
answer, Heather.
Dr. Evil.
She's like, well, I've heard you're a fucking psychopath, so I can figure it out.
The sites of all the crimes on the map kind of takes a shape, and Harry's like, "What is the pattern here?" And all the kids start naming like objects that the pattern looks like, but he's more trying to ask where will it'll strike next. But all the kids are saying things that what it looks
It's like a Rorschach test or something. Yeah.
Right, and I love how like on this clipboard, because I watch a lot of true crime ones, and they all have this board and they all have the map of where
string
stuff
theory
was
and
going to
stuff like-
happen, and then the crime scene pictures was probably one of my favorite things on this pilot. It looks like gritty black and white crime scene pictures, and just like places where people have stepped and bounced on this couch. I
littered with soft furnishings.
Yes,
Yeah.
I definitely got a chuckle on that one.
Harry says the pattern is of a local bus route. Later, elsewhere, at a diner, there's a driver of a company. Did you guys get the name of this?
I didn't
this
see
box
it.
truck company.
Sofa something.
It's Sofa So Good. like so far so good. It's actually
There it
pretty
is.
funny.
But he goes into the cafe to get lunch. Looks out the window, and this box truck basically is just bouncing and bouncing. He goes out there, and somebody had
The assailant runs
Yeah.
off. Yeah. He goes out to investigate and finds his couch has been jumped on. And right at that moment, Harry and his kid brigade of police officers, they arrive on a classic.
on a double-decker bus.
Yeah. Isn't that nice to see? When I think about a double-decker bus, I think about the color red. Is that what you think about?
Oh, yeah,
This
totally.
This is green.
Yep.
Yeah. Yucked my yum. That's the last time I'm going to say it.
Is it though?
We'll see if it comes up organically. Harry delegates the responsibilities to the children, and they all complain about the jobs they've been given.
Yeah, I love this part too.
And then one of the kids finds that the assailant left a perfect face print in the ceiling of the box truck.
But the whole time Harry is
Kind of like a Han Solo situation.
reverse.
a
Reverse.
carbonite or whatever
He
that
was
is.
carbonite, yeah.
But what's funny is the whole time Harry is like going through all this stuff, and there's one kid like he's sitting there like pointing up, like just look up.
The
He's like,
kid kind of sees it before him.
Yeah.
but and you guys have kids that are very young. This is exactly like when there's a group of them and you're giving them assignments to do.
Yeah.
It instantly becomes a problem, and
I don't
somebody
want to do that one.
Yeah,
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I wanna do
it's
this
more
one.
it's more work than it's worth.
Classic.
Yeah.
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 But I found this pretty funny too.
At the same time, there's a B story going on with the two officers who were delegated by the chief to work the DART event security. And they're there watching a man prepare like this ultra high calorie smoothie for one of the participants.
That even had
And the dark-
concrete in it.
Had concrete mix in it.
They're basically saying this guy needs so many calories each day because he has to keep on this tremendous weight to perform in darts as well as he
Well,
does.
I think it was also like so it didn't throw off his balance.
Okay.
I guess
They
he'd
said,
learned.
they said specifically he had to weigh a certain amount or he couldn't throw the dart straight.
Which, of course, is ridiculous. And the two officers, they're like, this smoothie is nuts. And they try it. They're like, it's actually incredible. So they drink the whole thing, and then they replace it with conveniently
Like Slim Fast?
stashed cans of, I think it's called Slim Quick, but the
But yeah.
same thing. Yeah. Harry and his child brigade then go to a local mall with a plaster cast of the couch jumper's face from the box truck, and something interesting is happening here. Harry is seemingly talking to real people.
Right. Yeah.
This is probably the most interesting part of the pilot, if you ask me. He's talking to real people in this mall, And he's asking them if they recognize the person in the cast, and it feels like they had an event at the mall, and you could get in line and interact with this actor for the possibility of being on this pilot for like 30 seconds. And I think that's exactly what happened.
And they used like half a dozen people at
they
least.
really did.
Yeah.
That was I thought that was a pretty interesting part of the show. Harry and the kids then decide they must set a trap to catch the bouncers, and so they set up shop in like a Bed Bath & Beyond type store, and everyone moves in and tackles the wrong guys, which are just like testing out a mattress for their grandma, which I think they call Nan.
Yeah, and like they show him their big wad of money, and they show him a picture of her, and he's like, she looks like she needs to be comfortable.
Harry's trying to like talk them out, these wrongly accused guys of purchasing the mattress they decide on, when a real bouncer dressed in a suit and a briefcase makes short work of some mattresses in the distance.
Yeah, and then there's a high-speed chase of bouncing on all these mattresses.
Heather, what do you think at this point? You're watching this. This is all nonsense.
Absolute nonsense.
Are you enjoying it at all at this point?
Why do they all get on the bouncy balls and bounce after him? They could just tackle the guy. I mean,
that's at the very end.
That's true. There's so much
right.
bouncing. Yeah. But what do you call those? It's not like a
get it.
Pilates ball. What did they call those? Because it has a handle on it.
I didn't have the name either when I wrote it down in my notes.
No.
I remember.
For some reason, Jolly Jumper comes to mind. Is that
there you go.
I
That
dated
could be.
her
know.
too.
You know, when you say Jolly Jumper, you know what comes in my
ring
Yuck
mind?
her yum.
What comes in my mind is one of those things in a doorway that you set up and let your kid jump
That
with
might have been,
springs.
that might
could
have
be
been
wrong.
it. Terrible for their hips. Don't do that.
Don't do that for the kids.
Ooh, the hips.
A full bounce chase
hip
ensues with
dysplasia.
Harry and the bouncy brats. They follow the business bouncer, complete with two mattress store workers moving a mattress in the way of the chase to block some of the police, like a large plate glass window in a movie, or like a bus pulling in front of a car during a chase. Yeah. And I thought that was like they're taking genres and they're taking like tropes of film and inserting them into this absurd premise. I thought it was pretty funny. The bouncer gets caught in a waterbed and is immediately apprehended.
So they take him to the
precinct
for interrogation.
Yep.
And this guy is sweating profusely. I mean, it is heavy sweating.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get information, and the guy's like, I'm not talking, I'm not saying nothing.
Right.
And they bring in like a love seat, just like black leather love seat.
To like tempt him,
to tempt him. And he and Harry goes over there and starts like, I'm up and I'm down. The guy, it's like a guy on crack. Like you have a crack
He can
pipe.
barely handle it.
It's the same thing. The camera starts shaking. He starts
As
sweating.
the lady from the auction, they used that same camera effect to show that he's jonesing for a jump.
And he's like, all right, I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
Yeah.
But then he goes, but I get 10 minutes with the couch.
Meanwhile, at the dart event, Barry, he's that huge fat guy who is drinking all that stuff. And he drinks the Slim Quick, and he passes out. And his trainer is freaking out because he knows something's wrong. So he's bringing him loads and loads of like very thick and dense pies to refuel him. It's like a 10-second clip, but they put that right in there. Then the guy in the suit and tie, he must have confessed everything because, as promised, he along with Harry and the child police squad are an industrial part of the town. In an ice cream truck, which does not fit in its surroundings
at all,
not whatsoever.
And
That's right.
Yeah, it's basically the black gentleman has shown him where the secret,
The hideout is.
where the bouncy guild
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. The guild?
Yeah, the bouncy guild.
The criminal has identified the face in the box truck stealing. I think his name was it Alan Triel? Does that sound right?
Kind of like the henchman or the club owner or whoever
The
he
guy
might
in
have been.
charge, yeah.
Yeah.
And Harry gets in disguise with a large camera built right into his ball cap. After saying the password, you guys remember what the password was?
Oh, I wrote it down. Shoot.
I'll give you 30 guesses.
I know what it is.
I have no idea.
I might have written it down.
It's Shaniqua.
Spin, snap, Shaniqua.
I did write it down. Yeah, Shaniqua.
The two are let in and into what can only be described as like you have kids, you take them to Elevate Trampoline Park. Have you taken them there?
Yes.
Yes.
But like after dark, right?
Right.
It's kind of like a nightclub.
And the first song that when they go in is "Jump Jump" by Criss Cross.
Just one jump, but by Criss Cross.
Daddy Mac will make you jump.
Yeah.
Criss Cross will make you.
You said you call Matt. Matt is in your phone as Daddy Mac. Is that what you said?
Do you remember the band Criss Cross?
I I think I know the song you're talking about.
Okay, well,
I know the song.
They were two adolescent children who
They were 12 when they had like a #1 hit.
They were,
Yeah.
and their thing was they wore their pants and their baseball jerseys backwards,
Yeah.
crisscross.
So cool.
I think they were. No, maybe that was another bad creation. I got mixed up.
Well, Jermaine Dupri, I think, was the guy who was like the producer behind
Sure.
their stuff. And one
One of them's dead.
R.I.P. to one.
R.I.P..
Oh, really?
That's exactly right. Harry demands to see the boss and is brashly told no, while the whole place kind of like record scratch comes to a halt. And then the briefcase bouncer tells Harry Batt to start jumping. And then right then, what song kicks in then? Do you guys know?
write it down?
Van Halen's "Jump."
That's right. That's exactly right.
Might as well jump.
Might as well. Harry gets really into it, and the whole place applauds. He is led in to see the boss. Again, his name is Alan. And both of his arms appear to be broken, like he broke them
They're in
probably while
casts.
jumping.
It kind of looks like, like he's in a mannequin state or something like that. Yeah, they're just frozen.
Yeah, both of his arms are like perpendicular to his body, and then his forearms are facing straight up in the air, like he's calling a goal,
A field goal.
a
Yeah.
field goal in
Yeah.
football. That's right. Anyway, Alan was the one from the box truck, and Harry tells him that he is taking over the local bounce game, and Alan is tricked into bouncing on his whole chair while Harry gets it on camera.
Right, and then that's when he calls in. He asks. He goes to call in the kids to come in.
His
and,
squad,
the
yeah.
squad to bust him, and they're not answering him because they're watching darts. I don't. I want Chris Tuckley to tell me, is darts really a thing in
That's a good
the
question.
UK
for
or
Chris.
what?
They're all in the ice cream truck watching the dart tournament on a TV there.
He lectured them before he got out
Not
of the
to-
truck. Yeah,
not to watch it, yeah.
To not watch it and to be ready.
Harry asks to use the phone since he can't get through him on his communique attached to him or something. He calls the police station. They patch him to the ice cream truck. And while that's happening, Alan makes his escape. Harry looks out the window, and he sees Alan getting away in one of those... What do you think they're called?
Oh, I called him a jolly jumper,
a-
but that's.
but
I think you're right. I think that was the doorway.
It's
thing.
like a big rubber or silicone ball.
with a handle on it that the kids bounce on.
Yeah.
you hold onto the handle.
People know
bounce
what they
on
are.
it.
Yeah, people know what that is.
Yeah.
And the parking lot is full of those, like evenly spaced in the parking spaces, as well as like a series of pogo sticks, right?
Like folks have pulled in with these.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Harry and the kid cops then pursue all on bouncy balls and pogo
Hoppity
sticks.
ball.
There you go. Okay, I'll take that. They all go like across streets. They go through fields. They're on running tracks, etc.
They actually stop at one point and take a break, if I'm not mistaken.
Alan was tired.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah.
We now go live to the dart event where Barry, I guess his last name is Whippet, is throwing darts and chomping on large rolls to get his energy back. As Barry is taking his final throw, Alan bursts through the side door, accidentally gets in front of Barry's toss, and falls to the ground after his ball explodes, all while Barry gets a bullseye
To win it.
to win the whole
tournament.
thing. So then obviously they're apprehended, and then we're treated with like, what would you call the end of this? There's some kind of, was it like lip syncing, some kind of rock and roll outro? What would you
No,
call it?
I was under the impression that this was a song that he's up like on a tall building looking down over the city like Batman. I
Yeah.
guess. And this is the Batman talking to
Robin.
No, talking to
Gordon.
Yeah,
Commissioner Gordon.
And he goes into this song. It's a rock and roll song, but it's about bouncing, and I think that was just like it was a weird ending to it. I think that they probably were like, oh well, we caught the bad guy, don't have time to show it, but I wrote this song to go with this show. And that's it.
Please remain
Now Heather
seated
can
as
go
we are
home.
now crossing
Yeah.
a zone of
Tired?
turbulence.
I'm yawning, man.
I hear you.
We are.
Believe me, I yawn a lot when I'm on this show.
We're almost done, I promise. Why didn't this show work though? It's drafting off the success of a children's show called Dick and Dom in the Bungalow or something like that. And this was a character on that show. They tried to make a pilot. For whatever reason, it didn't work. Matt, any reason why you don't think it worked?
Man, as you started off for us, like this, it's hard for me to put myself in the shoes of like a British audience. I'm looking for dry humor. I'm looking for slapstick humor, but I'm not that guy. Even though we took ourselves back to 2007 and tried to do it. I don't know. It was there's probably this tipping point of being absurd just enough that you keep the audience engaged. And then I feel like for whatever reason they just crossed over it into like what I would call first cut. Like they're gonna shoot it once and then like take it, go with it.
Sure.
But also like even the end when they're all bouncing around doing this. Is that where this is supposed to go? They've driven this like bouncing idea into the ground. Is that the series? Is that what we're talking about? Is like a
what do you do in the next episode?
at
Is
no
it-
point? Yeah, do they back off that and give me an idea like that? We're gonna move into another like
case?
It's mundane.
another
crime.
case. It's a very mundane crime.
Yeah, we're not talking about drugs. We're not talking about prostitution. We're not talking about murder or trafficking or anything.
Yum and yucks.
Yeah.
It's just. I'm not going to say it.
So I thought it could
You
get
almost
you.
got me there.
Almost.
This is like, hey, someone stole my newspaper. Everyone, there's some sort of gang out there stealing newspaper. This is mundane stuff.
Yeah.
Right? But in the best way possible, if you ask me.
I just don't feel like they left themselves any out to the next. They drove this so hard into the ground, and maybe that's jokes on me. Maybe that's part of the humor. Is they're just going to run this thing into the ground.
Heather, what would you do to improve Harry Batt?
I have not been looking forward to you calling on me because
Women usually do not like when I call on them.
yeah,
You're in good
I don't
company.
know, man.
What about his mustache?
Yeah, what
Like,
about my mustache?
Not Jason.
What's
not my-
up with
not my
all the
mustache.
bad hair and?
Did you think you looked like the guy from Drew Carey?
Why was that a thing in 2007
Interesting question.
in the UK?
I don't know. I've never been there. There is
I don't
a,
know.
there
Or was
is-
he like emulating another character? Like, was he like a Magnum
I,
PI guy?
I thought
don't know.
I thought he was trying to be like a '70s cop show kind of, shaggy hair with a obnoxious
The
mustache.
whole thing kind of had like a bluish tint, like an overcast bluish tint to it. So I don't know what that plays. Blake, this keeps going. Where would you like to see Harry?
That's
Batt?
the thing. That's what's hard for me is, are you going to have a different absurd crime spree every time? It doesn't leave itself open for anything. I think if you're just making one of these, like you committed fully to this ridiculous bounce thing.
Yeah.
But what are these guys going to do? You're not going to have a ridiculous crime every week.
They didn't do anything to build his character either, or make you care
Very
at all
good.
about him in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have had you on the show a lot more than that.
Been saying that for a while.
Why do you guys come pick me up and bring me here? You said we're going to go get nachos.
That's what we call this.
This is the part of the show where we say other people have seen Harry Batt, and by all accounts, a whole nation had access to it because it aired in the UK back in 2007. It's on IMDb. IMDb famously, 1 out of 10 is their grading scale, decimal points in play. Matt, what do you think people from around the world rated Harry Batt?
I have to confess, I've been tainted. I've
so
been
you-
compromised.
so you know
yeah,
the answer.
I've been compromised.
Okay,
You might
well-
want to call and
Let me ask Heather then, because Blake surely cheated. But
She's the one who
that
compromised.
tainted him.
everyone here. Okay. Oh, how about this? On the count of 3, all of you just say the rating on IMDb at the same time. 1, 2, 3.
9.2.
Blake is right. It's 9.2. I'm not sure where you would get 12.
Where
out
would
of
you
10.
get 12 from?
Heather, you didn't say anything.
I'm just really.
Did you guys just do a bit?
She
Did
goes
you guys
on.
just do a bit?
I was hoping. Oh, we may have.
Where did you get 12?
I was going to shoot. I was being absurd. I was trying to keep the.
I see.
You know,
I got you.
stay in the. I was trying to jump on a couch over
Yeah,
there.
that was super funny.
Hey,
All right, no, this is a 9.2 from 28 ratings on
that's
IMDb.
crazy. I don't think when was the last time we saw something that had like that high a score on IMDb?
It is abnormally high for the show.
Did you look at the? You can look at the UK and the United States on there. They really liked it, man.
You can drop the filter. She put it down
Yeah.
to just the UK.
We were looking at it out there.
You guys went to IMDb and you switched
She
the
did
ratings
on that
from just
couch.
UK?
You can look
Yeah.
at the UK versus
never
the
done that.
US.
Never done that.
Yeah, I was looking at it.
No time
People
like
in the
no
UK
time like
really
the present.
liked it. I don't understand why they didn't pick it up because they really liked it.
Yeah.
Well, there are critic reviews out there, too. This one's from Mazza from the moviedb.com. They said on December 18th, 2022, so just, 7-8 months ago at this point, I can't really explain how much I love this show. I rewatch it once a year at a minimum, and it never fails to make me crease. I can only imagine that means laugh in the UK. There are so many iconic lines, and the humor ages with me. That's a nice review.
Sure.
There are also viewer reviews, people who are not quite critics or have their own websites. K-Dog 46.
K-Dog in the
17,
house.
just 3 years ago says, I'm a 30-year-old man.
Congratulations.
And I'd say not a
You
full
made it.
year goes past without me
I'm a
thinking
real
about
boy.
Harry Batt.
Good God.
Kicker Milton 8 years ago says, I give my blessing to this official Harry Batt channel and can confirm it's managed by the very man himself. Happy viewing. Let's see. The Detective web series 8 years ago says, this is brilliant. I remember watching this pilot many years ago. It's a shame they didn't make a series out of this because it's a really good idea. Angus Jones says, this was so good, I remember it. I wish they made it to a proper series. I'll just read a couple more. TVM2 channel 8 years ago says, I've been wanting to watch this for ages, so thanks. Really wish they commissioned this into a full series. Last one I'll read here is Refilming 7033 says, I've looked for this for years as I was an extra in it. And then, believe it or not, I was
Must
also
have been from the mall.
I was also
That's
the
right.
polar bear in the credits. It was a very funny day with an old friend Lee as one of the main characters, and Ian was an absolute star and great guy. I've just shared it on Facebook, and people still love it. Mm-hmm. How about that?
Good job.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport. Local time is 11:11 and the temperature is 69 degrees. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captains turn off the fastened seatbelts.
Is that the last time I'm going to hear that?
Yeah, that was it. You'll never hear it again. This is the final rating you and I will give for a regular episode of the program. Are things starting to hit you now? Are you starting to settle in? I strongly suspect it's only because it's getting late and you're tired.
No.
Heather and Blake have been yawning over here.
Oh,
It's
yes.
like they're
But I do that. I mean,
they're like whittling me down. I'm starting to get tired.
I do that every week.
I
no.
refuse to look at either.
No, I just,
This is the part of the show where each of us will give our rating of the program. We've had so much information out there, so much information about the pilot, and we broke down the summary of it and the plot. This is our time to grade it, and we do that based on a grading scale from the television show affectionately and accurately known as Wings from the 1990s. We look at all the characters from Wings, and we assign them a score, a number, a rating. 1, that's the worst score you're going to get. That's a fella goes by the name of Roy Biggins. Number 7, that's the best score you're going to get. That's a fella goes by the name of Brian Hackett. Heather, first-time guest, last-time guest.
I mean, yeah.
We look towards you.
You're like, I'm not ever doing
I
this
will not be
again.
back.
How do you rate Harry Batt?
I give it a solid 3.
A 3.
Oh.
4.
No.
Maybe I
Oh.
give it
It's up to you, and feel free to elaborate.
1 to 7, right? 1's bad, 7's good. You know what? I give it a 4 because although I did not like it and I didn't think it made any sense, it could have been much more offensive.
Offensive.
Yeah, it could have been really bad and it wasn't.
Yeah, it
Maybe
maybe it saved itself in a few spots.
Matthew, you've been on more than anyone else. I don't know
Yeah.
why I called you Matthew. I never do in our personal life. I call you Matt always. But I look towards you one final time, one last time.
Right.
How do you rate Harry Batt?
I have been an easy grader over the years.
He's an easy
There
grader.
it is. And I feel like I need to right some wrongs. And unfortunately,
Oh, no.
Harry Batt's going to have to. Harry Batt's going to have to. I can't go any higher than, and Blake's not going to like this, a 2.5.
You can't do a
A
half.
half is they're frowned upon.
2 or a 3. You're not going to break the rule of the last episode.
On the last episode, I got to go 2, Blake. I laughed one time on a show that was trying so hard to be funny. It was when he walked by just like, I think he walked down the street and by I guess a furniture shop. And it was a flash cut.
I think it was someone's apartment.
Oh, it might have been.
I think there are people in there
It was like
jumping
a
in their
flash cut. And it always was like literally a second and a half of people just like jumping like crazy
Really
people
going
on the,
nuts.
and then they just cut back to him and he's just like shaking his head and just keeps walking. That's the only part that made sense to me. I'm afraid it's a 2 for me.
Did you say a 3?
Yeah,
A
I
3
did.
and a
I did.
2.
I mean, I've never graded.
You said a 4.
I've never
Are you-
graded.
are
She
you-
might have ended up on a 4.
Did I talk myself up even higher? I just think it, I don't know. It could have been.
Oh,
could
you
have been
did say
really
it for.
bad.
Captain Philip,
don't
rest
know.
assured, I look towards you this final time.
I don't have the benefit of watching any of these other pilots.
Oh, it's not a
so
benefit. It's a curse.
How do you rate Harry Batt?
I've watched 399 pilot television shows. I have always struggled with British television shows because I was scarred very early on with the Crystal Cube, or the what was it? The Cube.
You got it right.
The Crystal Cube, which I gave
With a very young Hugh Laurie.
yes, which I gave a 0.
Zero.
Wow.
It was the worst pilot I have ever watched.
It was kind of a huge piece of shit.
It was a very huge piece of shit. I don't know if it's because I knew it was the end of this fucking torturous thing of watching television shows that suck. You know what I mean? But I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I really did think it was so ridiculously funny. I give it a 6.
Wow.
I liked it.
Wow. Big numbers in there.
That's-
Big numbers. A 2 and a 4 and a 6.
Touch the sky.
That's right. Touch the sky. This is dumb, absurd humor. It largely lands for me. I do think it's pretty funny, and it did it in a PG fashion, which isn't always the case. You go to Europe and you turn on TV, you're gonna see some boobies. That doesn't happen in America.
You're gonna see butts. You're gonna see bare
see some
butts.
You're gonna see bare butts. Over there. They play fast and loose with TV over there and what can be done on TV. This presented what I thought was a funny show in a PG fashion.
I don't think there was a profanity either. Really,
No,
was there?
and they infused children in this. They said, "We know where we came from.
Right.
This is from a kid's show, Dirk and Dick's Da Bungalow, or whatever the fuck it was."
So much dicks going on.
And here's some kids. Here's a kids from that show, and now we're infusing children in this, and it was done in a funny way. Children police officers is ridiculous, but it's funny.
Yeah.
I like this show. I thought it was funny. I would watch more of this. Every week is going to be a mundane crime, and you're going to have kids, probably a different slew of kids each time, and the chief will be the same, right? And you'll have the same actors from Dick and Dom's Bungalow playing various other characters, but they'll cycle out different children throughout the show.
Did you take it as Harry was in charge of these kids, like he was like the head of that
Just because
department?
he was older than
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
I think if you're
Well, he had his. I felt like when he went in there the first time, he was like in the front desk.
I think if you are a detective, you're slightly over like a beat cop, which those kids were like quote unquote beat cops. So.
I didn't mean to interrupt your score.
No, that's fine. I did enjoy this. I thought this was really funny. I would watch more of it, and we're at the end, so what the fuck do I care? I'm going to give this a 7.
Oh my goodness.
This is great. I really
was
enjoyed
funny.
it. It was by complete happenstance. I never pre-watch these to pre-vet them in any way to see if I like them or not. This was just a great happenstance of a final episode, and why not give it a little boost? I give it a 7. You give it a 6. Heather, you give it a 4.
Wow.
And Matt, you're circling the drain at a 2.
I'm never
Only-
that
the
low.
only time Matthew's been the most pessimistic one.
I
You
guess
felt like you had
so.
something to make up for. I don't know what that
I
was.
did. I needed to balance out.
And with that, we close the book on Harry Batt, and we'll never speak of that show again.
Here.
But join us next time when we end where we began, as we rewatch the pilot episode of Baffled. Here's a little something to wet your whistle. A U.S. racing champion is haunted by intense visions of an American woman in some kind of danger in an English mansion. A British ESP and occult expert believes that his visions will really happen and asks him to help her with or investigate them. You can find the entire episode of Baffled by subscribing to Couch Pilots and SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube. Everybody,
You'll know what to do, tubes.
Holy smokes. I will say that before that last episode, we do have a kind of a special surprise, right, Blake?
Yeah. Do you want me to just kind of go over just...
Do you want to say what the surprise is? You can if you want.
I think that we should at least explain the surprise.
Okay, go ahead. Go for it.
Okay, so for the 400th episode of Couch Pilots, it is done in 4 parts. So each part will come out 1 week after the other on a Monday, just like we normally do. I don't necessarily want to say what happens on those, but there is a part 1, a part 2, and a part 3, and then on part 4 is when Baffled is going to, which was the first pilot that we ever did.
And I think we should keep what happens on that episode a secret.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, the finale will be in 4 parts.
Sure.
But each I think are worth listening to.
Very much so.
And at the time of you and I recording this right now, we have completed everything except that final episode, which will be done in the next week or 2,
Right.
I think. But those 3 weeks building up to that, there's a lot of fun that you and I had with that. And I think longtime listeners of the show will really enjoy what we've come up with.
Right. I think so, too.
And we explain what that is when those come out and kind of dig into that. But I really did enjoy that a lot. I think we had.
I think they just needed to know that there was 4 different parts.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Thank you for
Oh
explaining.
no, thank you.
One of the last things we do here usually is give out our contact info, but I'm not going to do that. Screw you.
Yeah.
Screw you.
We don't
listener.
care. You haven't contacted us. You're not going to now.
Yeah, it's over. It's over. Whatever you have to say, guess what? It's too late.
Right.
We don't care. We do have a part at the end of the show, which I think is still important, where we talk to our guests and we ask them to give out plugs of anything that they're working on, or just maybe anything that they're interested in. Earlier, Heather said 2 names of podcasts that weren't couch pilots that she's interested in.
Yeah. Anything else you're finding entertainment in, or anything you want to plug?
Huge fan of JOURNEYLOFI.
See?
Where do you find Journey Lo-Fi? Where's that at?
You can, well, yeah. You can go out to YouTube,
You can point at my husband.
and you'll know what to do to when you get
YouTube.
there. Yeah, yeah.
I will say that I had trouble finding it. Mm-hmm. So, but I did, obviously.
Yep.
It's the word journey, no space, LOFI. All one word, no spaces. You think lo-fi, LOW, not the case at all. LOFI. All
Right.
one word. It's his channel. You'll know it because you'll see the amount of subscribers skyrocket.
Yeah. It does not get it's a very saturated market, so mine is not going to rank very high, but it's been so much fun. We've gone from a modest 12 subscribers 2 weeks ago, and we're getting close to 200, so we're
That's awesome.
It's
Yeah,
cool.
we're
think
having
it's,
fun.
It's awesome that you're being creative. And
yeah,
I think
a lot of fun. Yeah.
Very cool. Any other creative endeavors that either of you want to talk about?
I think to plug another podcast. I think in a week or so, I'll be on a Drunken Lullabies project, Radio Rewind.
You will be on that.
Yes.
I am looking forward to that.
And we will have a very special guest, a family member of mine who has lived a life on the music scene and has stories to tell. So
this might be out a week before or the week of that being released.
okay, yeah,
But yeah, your Uncle Trent has
Yep.
long since been this mythological character. I think I first met him, I bet in 2001 or 2.
wow.
I think the first time I met him was sitting at a bar at the at Applebee's in East Peoria, when that old Applebee's on Main Street.
Sure.
There. I think I first met him there, and I've met him a couple times since. But
Yeah.
the experiences he has had throughout his career will work nicely.
it's incredible.
Into
Yeah,
Radio Rewind. It'll be your first venture on the program
for sure.
as well.
Yep. Trent, we're super psyched to get him on the podcast and tell some, as he puts it, road stories, who he's worked with, and all the really cool experiences.
Seriously, the biggest names that you can think of in music, Trent has worked with them, and he'll share it all right on
It's gonna be fun. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Last thing before we kind of let Blake say his piece, which I don't know if he has anything to say. This is your time, Matt and Heather, to kiss our ass. If there's anything that and I don't say that in a mean way. I'm saying if there's anything positive that you want to say to Blake or I say it now because you will never have a chance again.
Go ahead, babe, and then I'll go.
Blake, I just want to give you all the credit in the world because you have a very spotless bathroom in there. I heard that you cleaned it on behalf of me.
After
love.
I cleaned it, after I sent it, I was like, I go, that makes me seem really weird. But then I
said it was thoughtful.
But then I also thought, yeah.
Blake is a surprisingly tidy housekeeper.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
Jason, thank you for all your support these past few weeks. You've been great.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Blake did you see how he lit up when you complimented his bathroom? That's great. Blake, you can have that all the time if you kept your bathroom clean.
If anytime a girl says something nice to me, it's just like, hey.
All right, Matt.
Boy. Okay.
Let us have it.
Okay.
You're Matt. I think Matt was our first or second guest. He was on the first season. I think him and my brother were both on the first season. I can never remember. If I went back, I could look, but he may have been our first guest. And by every account, he is our last guest.
Well, it's been an honor and a privilege. The first one that I was on might have been episode number 2. I would venture to guess. It's called The World Beyond. If you remember that one,
I don't think it was number 2. But...
Wasn't 2? Okay, it was within maybe the first. Oh, maybe what I mean is like the first season.
I don't remember the first 10 episodes of the show.
I remember your brother being there, Jason. Like he was either going to do one right after me or before me or something like that.
He did the Mini Monsters, which was based on the Monsters, but it was like a cartoon.
That must have been.
And I'll let you say what you watched, but I remember what it was.
I think I remember too.
The one I watched.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it was The World Beyond. No,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
And
it was like some sludge monster.
Yeah, the sludge monster. I remember the sludge monster.
And that introduced the word transom into our vernacular, which I think, again...
a mud golem's foreskin. How about that?
All these years later.
I do
remember that.
I genuinely did. I every time I showed up, and we ended up with a lot of inside jokes where Blake would get all... twist himself up in a knot trying not to offend me, and I was never once ever, and I say this hand on the Bible, never offended. I was always just so welcomed into this space, and I'd never done anything like a podcast before, but I genuinely left beaming every time. You guys are such gracious hosts, and I've told Jay before, like, you guys are such quick thinkers on the mic, and this suits you guys so well. It is bittersweet for this to wrap up like it is now. But I guess everything does have a beginning and an end. But thank you guys for welcoming me so many times into this. I laughed so hard. Blake's wheezing, I kid you not, every time he got me. Every time the wheezing got me.
So much more healthy now.
It's a genuine health concern.
Yeah.
Over the years, we had some friendly competitions.
Yes.
And I think that...
strengthened our relationship.
Hoop Dreams is probably...
Hoop Jeans
is probably... That was the first time I met Heather, and I'm sure she was just like, what is this
What an impression.
weirdo?
What
is this weird...
She actually... She said
Why is
some
his
things-
underwear on the outside of his shorts?
She said some things on the way home I wasn't comfortable with.
But no, that's it. I've always had. I think that one and the bowling one.
Yeah.
It was always fun.
Yeah.
Do you have those jeans framed like in your house or anything?
They're a mural. You see them right when you walk into my home. Yeah. It's a real
Kind
conversation
of like if you had,
piece.
it's
a real conversation
Like you had
piece.
an autographed Jordan jersey or something. It'd
Right.
probably be up there too.
The competitions, all the fun that we had along the way. But seriously, guys, thank you for welcoming me in. I'll say this too: the consistency for 8 years. You guys did not miss a Monday for 8 years. That's incredible. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I knew how much hard work had been put into it, all the logistics, the guests, and everything else. I applaud you guys. It was awesome to watch it.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
That's some incredible ass kissing. First of all, thank you.
You know what? Probably the best ass kissing of the
I
season.
feel like I've opened it up to everyone.
I just yucked your yum.
Yeah.
To everyone at the end of these episodes, and everyone's just kind of like, okay, it's fun. That was great. What Matt just did is what I wanted from everybody.
Right.
Whatever. We'll take what we get.
I'll go find him.
Thank you. Anything you want to say to our guests before we go, Blake?
Matt, thank you very much. I truly have a tremendous amount of respect to you for the person that you are, and I truly loved when I found out that you were going to be on each episode, and I truly tried to be somewhat behaved, not because I was afraid, but because I have a lot of respect for you, and it always made it fun trying to do that. I think Jason has mentioned in the past, like, trying to do this, like having rules to follow, like kind of sparks the creative, happy. And to me, that's what it was. It was, but
Right.
It was always out of respect and just because you're a better fucking person than I am, and so it always makes me feel uncomfortable.
Well, that's a bit much, but I
What
would,
a compliment.
Yeah, well,
No, it is. It is. He knows it is.
Yeah, I'll play along, but at the same time, there's been a friendship, a bond, well before
Sure.
we ever hopped on the mic here together. Kindred spirits, if you will. So thank you for always inviting me into your home and helping me be part of this. It really is. I really do look up to Blake, and I call it is a talent that he has on this mic, and he's shared it with all of us. I think they don't call you the Podfather for no reason. Right. So yeah.
Heather, thank you very much for being on. I hope you
for
enjoy.
having
I know
me.
it's late.
Yeah.
I know you're weary.
I mean,
I know your plans don't include me, but still here we are.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, did you have a good
I told
time?
Matthew, I was like, this is a huge mistake. I don't know why you guys want to do this, but okay, fine. And
It wasn't a mistake.
It was fun.
You're on the other.
right.
You're on the other side of it.
I'm on the
Fun?
other side. It was fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to say my thoughts are with you and your family for sure, and on your
Thank you.
your journey that you're taking.
Yep.
I don't know what to say. I don't have the strength that in my at all that you're
well, I
going
tell
to
you
have
what,
to
Blake,
do.
I'll let you come and clean our bathrooms. It's the fan. You've proven yourself worthy.
But I know that you and Matt are amazing people, and I know that if you having Matt is probably your best defense against whatever you're going to be facing. So
She's been making me smoothies and
much.
workout plans and true Chris.
I've got her down there doing like
Concrete.
Richard Simmons.
Concrete smoothies.
Did I
Richard
say Richard,
sweat to the oldies.
did I say Richard Simmons? Who do I mean?
I don't know.
I thought I was saying Richard. I said Richard Simmons. I saw Richard Gere, and then I'm now back to Richard Simmons.
Yeah.
he just turned 75.
Worst
Or 79,
Richard Gere
something
did?
like that. No, Richard Simmons.
He's great. I as we wrap it up, I want to say thank you to both Matt and Heather.
Yeah.
We have a lot of guests that come through. We've been blessed with like seriously 30-some regular guests that come through here.
Yeah.
But I think Matt and Heather both know how much they mean to me personally, how much I love them.
Yeah.
And to have you, Matt, consistently be on the show, and Heather, you to agree for whatever reason you agree to be on the show on this final time. I really do. I'm glad
I'm
you're
a
here.
people pleaser. It's
I'm-
pathological.
You really are. This is the combination of people, and this is the end of this season ostensibly, and we got everyone that we want.
Right.
Well, this
So it's very important to me that happened and it worked out.
that means a lot, Jay. And you've called this a scheduled hang before, and I'll just be fully transparent on this mic. Like both Blake and Jason know how close they are to me. Jason, best man at my wedding and closest friend I could ever ask for, and I just look up to him so much. He knows that, and I can't even really look at him while I say it, but just how many times he's spoken into my life and helped me see things with all the insight and grace that he does it. And just to watch himself pour himself into this, he's the best friend anyone could ask for, and he's just built me up so many times, and even given me a chance to come out here and share some thoughts with you guys along the way. I just look up to you, brother. I love you, brother. And
Well, I love you
thank
too.
you.
And
Yeah.
there's no other guest that we would have for the last one. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
This pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
See you.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.